Very little drama. The Sixers got their guy. We will react to the selection of VJ Edgecomb and, of course, another Phillies loss. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
I did not expect to see the series that we saw. 3 blowouts? I would never have expected that with those two teams. I'm glad 2 of them went our way.
And now you just watch them take 2 of 3 against the New York Mets. If you're going to grouse about getting swept, you also have to sort of celebrate the good.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Thursday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salciunas alongside my man, John Kincade. Johnny, good morning.
An eventful night.
Yes, definitely
Which leads
eventful.
to a eventful Thursday morning to be able to discuss it all. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. The Sixers selected VJ Edgecomb out of Baylor with the 3rd overall pick. So all the Ace Bailey talk that we have had for the last couple of weeks and how whether or not he was hurting his draft stock.
He did.
He did. And he ends up going 5 to the Utah Jazz, which is hilarious because it was one of the destinations he didn't want to go to.
No, he, have you been?
No, I've not.
Okay, because like Haley really wants to go, she was just saying. And Connor, have you ever been?
Nah, I'm good on Utah.
Okay, no. You would love, Utah's awesome, man. Especially like you ever snowboarded?
No.
Anything? Okay. It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
beautiful. He is going to hate it. Is all I'm going to tell you. He's going to hate it.
Well, I just love the fact that he didn't want to go there, and they say, we don't care. We're selecting you anyway.
And Danny Ainge but the question is, did Danny Ainge outsmart everybody by taking...
So here's the thing. You mentioned one of the best talents. There was a lot to unpack with the Sixers selection of Edgecomb with the 3rd overall pick. So let's go back down memory lane a little bit. When we found out that the Sixers were getting the 3rd overall pick, when they won the lottery, because to me that's a win. Right?
Well, the fact that we got to pick last night.
There was a chance that you weren't going to get a pick, and you climbed all the way up to 3. I still said the very next morning when we were on the air, I'm thrilled that they got the pick because if they didn't get one last season, it just adds to how horrible last year was. At least you got a pick. However, I don't believe that anybody from picks 3 on, franchise-changing player, franchise-altering player. Honestly, I don't even think Dylan Harper is a franchise-altering player. He's just a nice addition to Victor Wembanyama, who is the guy the Spurs will be building around.
People would think differently sitting next to the family section with Dylan Harper, but that's all right.
The only franchise-changing player was Cooper Flagg, and that's why he was number 1 overall pick, and that's why we knew that for weeks, or for months, honestly.
Yeah, months.
So VJ Edgecomb is not going to be a franchise-changing player. He's a guy that they wanted to add to what they currently have and what they're building. You've seen over the last couple of years with the draft, they're getting guards, and they're getting athletic guards. Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, and now Edgecomb with last night's selection. Do I believe he is the better prospect than Ace Bailey? I do not. I think Ace Bailey, from a basketball standpoint, is the better prospect. But something that I'm going to get into a lot today, VJ Edgecomb might be the most sane pick for what this organization has been dealing with for years, and that's dysfunction.
Of all the words you use, sane, embellish that a bit.
Well, has anything with this organization for 10 years been normal?
Yeah, Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain. For a while, they've been doing things that are very calming, very competent, very otherwise. We've just been used to the insanity of Joel Embiid doing his own thing, doing whatever he wants to do, and veterans that are sort of
I'm not
just
talking about players.
That's the truth. You mean executives?
Dude,
we're going back a long way now.
I know, but
coaches
over the last 10 years, let's think about this.
Yeah, but we're going back.
I know we are, and I'm feeling some sanity right now with this team. I've seen a GM get pushed out, and I was actually kind of okay with it. I see the GM that came in has burner accounts. He gets pushed out. I saw a head coach that was only hired to lose on purpose all of a sudden become the interim GM and make draft picks.
Right.
And making trades for Zaire Smith. I've seen coach after coach after coach. I've seen assistant coach after assistant coach after assistant coach. I've seen star player after star player after star player get upset, want to get traded. I've seen a roster to start the season not be the same roster in the middle of the season, and not just because they made tweaks, no, because they made major overhauls. And then I've heard the exact same nonsense every single year, the same excuse. Well, they didn't have enough time to play with one another. Well, that's what happens when you don't have a set roster. So for the first time in a while, it looks like they're trying to build towards something.
Okay.
And why would you bring in a player who did not want to be here? If you're the Utah Jazz, you're starting fresh, right? Like they literally tanked. They just didn't get a top pick. They got 5th overall. So they take who they believe is the best player from a basketball standpoint. The Sixers are looking to have some sort of non-dysfunction. They want function. They want sanity. And maybe selecting a player who might have a good head on his shoulders is a good start.
I got you, and I think Edgecomb is the guy. So that if you're coming at it from that angle, it absolutely works. I mean, it definitely does. And there's so many things we'll get into about Edgecomb. That seems like it's a really, really good choice. But again, is it about talent, or is it about? Are you trying to get the most talented players, or are you trying to get players that are all like? It seems like you went and got another guy that you already have a lot of, instead of getting the most talented player on the board. And it was no. And last night, Connor, if you're watching the draft, there was no, like we were discussing it yesterday morning, there was no doubt that the scouting services and everything said Ace Bailey should have been the 3rd player off the board.
Yeah,
Right.
I'll ask you this real quick, Johnny. Has the Sixers' problem been more talent, or has it been more other stuff?
Well, the thing is, though, the other stuff you've been talking about, like Andrew was just talking about there, we're going back in a little bit. Because the stuff that has been now
was it not dysfunctional a year ago with ramp-up periods?
Like, well, no, that's the Sixers.
It's been dysfunctional for 10 years.
But that's not players.
Well, kind of
it hasn't
is.
been. Kind of was. The only, the dysfunction is the guy that you don't want to send out of town.
Well, no.
But the organization was bought into it.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Daryl Morey was the one going on radio stations saying, "Hey, we're ramping him up."
Because Daryl Morey's tied to the petulant child that is Joel Embiid.
It's not just him. You had a guy in a club holding up a sign that his GM's a liar while he's still on the team.
That is again. They're talking about these veteran guys. The young guys that Daryl Morey's been bringing in are guys that are good. So I'm very, very happy with that. But as long as you're tied to Joel Embiid, you've got an anvil around your neck. You've got the dysfunction is going to be here when you got a guy who does his own thing, plays when he wants to, does his own thing in the offseason.
So you bring in a guy that won't add to the dysfunction.
Okay, I don't think Ace Bailey is going to end up being that myself. I don't think that an 18-year-old is coming in and going to cause that dysfunction. And I also believe you might have made a deal. Here's the problem, though. I don't think that Edgecomb would have lasted past 4.
Right.
So I'm not going to criticize Daryl Morey. If Edgecomb was the guy he wanted, I'm not criticizing him for not drafting Ace Bailey and doing my hostage routine, because it was pretty obvious from hearing the analysts that they thought Edgecomb would have gone at 4.
So Gavoni's been the guy that we have been bringing up a lot. He was spot on. Like he was right with a lot of the selections yesterday.
Boy, I'll tell you, he did great work.
And he said in his last mock draft, and we read it yesterday, if the Sixers don't take Edgecomb at 3, he's going off the board at 4.
And that was the consensus after the Edgecomb pick, that he would have went 4. That he wouldn't have been there.
Right.
There's no way that Daryl Morey was trading back to 4 or 5 or whatever and getting Edgecomb.
And so there's a lot to talk about, because I know people, the player itself, aren't necessarily thrilled with, but there's so many factors to it. Like that, if they traded back,
you weren't getting.
Oh, you could have got him at 6.
No, you couldn't.
No, you couldn't have. Like
you would not have. You wouldn't have got him at 4, because if you trade back to 4, you're not getting him. If you said, "Hey, we're going to go back to 4 and trade up from 3," you're not getting him. So it's not.
Somebody may have taken him at 3.
Right. All right, so the 4th team, if he move up to 3, they're taking him.
We have a lot to discuss when it comes to this selection. So coming up next, you'll hear from Daryl Morey, who spoke obviously yesterday on the selection. Hear from Daryl Morey. You're going to hear from Jay Billis, who gave his analysis on Edgecomb. And I'm telling you right now, you may not love the pick. You may not love the player. But if you weren't listening to the guy speak yesterday, coming up next, you will fall in love with the person. Hear from VJ Edgecomb and his inspiring story next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We want to hear from you. So A couple of clips that we're going to roll through during this segment as we are reacting to the Sixers selection of VJ Edgecomb with the 3rd overall pick. Again, I'll keep on mentioning Ace Bailey goes 5th to the Utah Jazz because that was obviously the player that a lot of people had their eye on, a lot of people wanted. There were other players later on in that 3 through 8 range that people were intrigued by. I wonder,
Johnson being one that really intrigued a lot of people.
Because of the shooting ability.
Like Amy did a really good case for him.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm curious. Here's the phone number, 610-632-0975. If you want to react, we'd love to hear from you. Text line, phone line. The selection of VJ Edgecomb, your reaction to it, what you would have wanted if it was not VJ Edgecomb. Because I know that yesterday's selection made it confuse a lot of people or upset a lot of people or just made a lot of people curious about what this kid can be. So let's play some audio for you. We'll start with Daryl Morey, sort of his opening remarks on the selection of Edgecomb.
We're super excited about VJ, what he can bring to the team. Brings a dynamic athlete, potential all-star, two-way player. Really helped his team. He's got all these winning qualities that we think really fit. Great teammate. His story and what he's done to get to this point is really unbelievable. And we think he's on a great trajectory to take where he's come from and continue to improve through Baylor all the way through a very long and very promising NBA career. And we're excited it's here at the 76ers.
Very GM speak.
Yeah.
I don't need to hear all-star just yet. Let's.
That was a little much, but
let's let the kid get in the NBA first.
I enjoy his. There is though, as we will talk about. There's so much to like, and I did not know anything about VJ Edgecomb till like 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, and you're gonna fall. You're gonna
till
fall
2 or
in
3
love.
weeks ago.
Like seriously, if people watched the broadcast and turned it off when they picked him, or maybe they weren't listening to it, and they had the Phillies game on or whatever.
Right.
The audio from VJ Edgecomb that we'll play here in a minute, you're going to fall in love with. But let's get some actual basketball analysis, not just the GM speak. Here's Jay Billis yesterday after the selection.
Well, Andre, your point about being a high-level athlete, he's elite athletically, a 3-and-D guy that plays above the rim. Lobs, I think he can do a better job finishing over length, but I think he'll get that in time. But you don't find athletes like this very often. And he's a great defender. He's developing as a shooter. He can knock down an open three, but he can certainly improve in that area. He shot 34% from three. He made 52 of them. But as a defender, he plays incredibly hard. He blows up dribble handoffs. He's an excellent chase defender, and he just disrupts. Very good as a help defender, getting out in passing lanes. He has a ton of ability, and you don't say this lightly. He does remind you of a young Oladipo, a young Wade when they were 19. Now the question is he going to reach that sort of height as he goes forward? But he's certainly got the capability there.
I got to tell you,
That's high praise, man.
that puts a smile on my face, and I love the chase defender. Love that.
So the one thing I'll push back on what you said in the last segment, that they drafted, another one of the same players. Yes, position-wise, guard, you now have.
That's what I meant.
Maxey,
That's
right.
what I meant, because he's not like, look.
No, this guy
Maxey,
plays defense.
Maxey doesn't D up.
Right.
And also, too.
Neither does McCain all that well. Neither does Quentin Grimes all that well.
And as you hear Jay Billis talk about him as he has to develop as a three-point shooter. Remember what Tyrese Maxey has developed into as a three-point shooter.
You guys know what he shot in college?
Because he was not good.
Not to put you on the spot. Do you guys know his three-point shooting
28?
percentage?
32.
29.
Yeah, I thought
he
wasn't
a
good.
29% three-point shooter.
He was not good.
He's
and
now
he
shooting 40+. Now, do I expect VJ Edgecomb to make an 11% jump?
Yeah, but he doesn't have to.
Right.
He only has
from
to
34 to 36, 37.
Yeah, he only has to, he improves 3-4%. He is in the top 25% of NBA shooting.
And one of the things he said there, Billis, which is important, he hits the open three.
That's one that's important.
He's going to get open looks with this basketball team, one healthy. And you're also not asking him to be the Tyrese Maxey, create the ridiculous step-back three off the dribble. You just need him to hit an open three.
And
he's going to get his
had
open.
that.
Right, you have not. Tobias Harris, right? Like, there's guys that have had open looks and they just can't hit them. Matisse Thybulls.
Explain it to me, though. Explain to me the open three. Because when I heard that, last night when I heard it live, I'm picturing to myself, okay, tell me when he's on the floor, who's getting him the open three?
Well, it's running through Embiid. So Embiid is going to.
So who's on the floor? Tell me the 5 guys on the floor.
Well, I imagine it's going to be Maxey and McCain in the starting lineup. So, and it's going to mix and match, but it could be VJ Edgecomb with Quentin Grimes, Embiid, or whoever the backup center will be. You're not going to have 5 bench guys playing at the same time. Paul George will be out there as well. I mean, he's probably going to be a guy that's going to hit spot up threes, and it's going to be like
I'm excited. No, I'm not.
You're asking him to take 3 a game, right? You're not asking him to take 9 threes a game.
Well, now you see what's funny is I'm actually hoping that this team's going to evolve into one where I'm asking him to do more. Right off the bat, I'm not asking him to take a bunch more than that.
Right.
I'm very inspired by the pick, and as you say, you're going to fall in love with the story. A lot of people don't know. I am married into a family from the islands,
right?
So I know the story of people coming from the islands to come to the United States to live here. What the heartbreak, the stories, the struggles, things that happen. I'm so inspired by this young man and his story. I'm thrilled for him.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, hearing Jay Billis doesn't throw out bouquets.
No.
He honestly is almost hypercritical.
He's a bit of a harsh guy.
And
D Wade?
He likes, but the minute I heard that, Connor, that's where my ears perked up last night.
Yeah, he's reminding him of 19-year-old D Wade. He's not calling him future Hall of Famer.
I remember D Wade at 19. Nobody was talking about him being a Hall of Famer.
Right, absolutely. So coming up next, you'll hear from VJ Edgecomb himself. There's 2 clips, one that's very inspiring, and then one that made me fall in love with the guy even more, which goes back to my point where we started the show. Why add to dysfunction? If anything, this was a sane pick. And with this organization, maybe that's something that they need. So you'll hear from Edgecomb coming up next. It's Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Sixers select Edgecomb. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Sixers stayed put at number 3 last night in the NBA draft, selecting 6'4" guard VJ Edgecomb out of Baylor. Edgecomb, whose athleticism stood out among draft prospects, talked on NBA TV after getting drafted about his confidence in himself.
They're getting a unique athlete, man. I think I'm the best athlete in the class, if you ask me. I can jump as high as anybody in here, run as fast as anybody in here. I'm gonna play my heart out.
It's hard not to root for the kid. And the main question with Edgecomb is how he fits in with a backcourt that already has Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain. The Sixers also hold the 5th pick in the 2nd round. They'll make that selection tonight. The Phillies were shut out again last night in Houston as the offensive woes continue. Zach Wheeler was great on the mound, but Doesn't really matter if you don't score. The Phils will try and get right in the series ender versus Houston today at 2:10 p.m. Christopher Sanchez will be on the mound against Hunter Brown. Fret not, Phillies fans. They're still in first place in the NL East. The NHL draft also gets going tomorrow night, so more draft news coming. We'll keep an eye on what the Flyers could do and keep you updated on all of that. This update is brought to you by Wendy's. Wendy's has $1 soft drinks, any size, all breakfast long. Coke, Sprite, Strawberry Fanta, whatever you want. Any size soft drink for $1, gotta be Wendy's. Limited time only at participating Wendy's. Terms apply. I'm Connor Thomas, and you're listening to the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
What's happening in Philadelphia? Andrew DeCecco here, Birds Insider for 97.
The Fanatic reacting to the Sixers selection of VJ Edgecomb with the 3rd overall pick. Round 2 is today because they found a way to make this a 2-day event.
Which is completely unnecessary.
And then we have the Flyers draft on Friday. Yeah, tomorrow's Friday. Man, today's Thursday.
Yeah,
Friday
it's
night.
tomorrow, dude.
Which is exciting. And you guys are going to be doing the show down at the Hard Rock, which is great.
Looking forward to
seeing what the Flyers do. Big week for drafts in the NBA.
Tim Saunders.
And the NHL. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Jason Mertidis.
Yeah.
Now, Mert's fighting the brain fog that I had to fight because he did a similar chemotherapy regimen. So I'm hoping I don't have to nurse Mert through the brain fog because I still get the brain fog at times too, where I'll say to you, pulling a name. You know, with Mert and I, it could be fun. And Kevin Cooney will be back here in studio, anchoring things from back here. So we're going to have a good time.
Oh, that's awesome. That's going to be a blast. All right, so Edgecomb. Again, you may not love the pick. And I need to make this clear. Because I put out a video yesterday, this sort of quick reaction video, and the station tweeted it out and put it on Instagram.
Sure.
And somebody was like, oh, of course Andrew likes this pick, Sixers homer. I'm not in love with the pick. It's just, it was their guy. They realized that if they didn't take him at 3, he wouldn't be on the board. Ace Bailey clearly made his draft stock go down. And there was not anybody that I would have fallen in love with unless it was Cooper Flagg. And they didn't get the number 1 overall pick.
Okay, can I ask people who were giving you crap, and I saw some of the people with that. Can I ask the people who were giving you crap about that video? I would ask them this question. Do you like the McCain pick last year? Who was the odds-on betting favorite to be Rookie of the Year when he got injured? Do you like the Maxey pick, which was 22, I believe, the year he came out? Or 21?
No,
21 to 22.
He was around the COVID time.
Yeah, exactly. But I think he was 21 or 22.
Okay.
He got picked 21st or 22nd.
Oh, a selection.
Is what I'm
saying.
saying.
I'm sorry, yes.
So what we know is that Daryl Morey, even back in the first round, can find talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
And likes talent and has a good eye. Do you think he can find a guy at 3rd?
I would think so.
Yeah. That's the way I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. The one thing I'm going to say is Daryl Morey, I believe, has gotten played by Paul George.
Yes.
I believe he's gotten played by Joel Embiid's camp to get that stupid extension. But I do believe that I'm giving Daryl Morey the complete benefit of the doubt on draft night. I think he's done a fantastic job.
Yeah.
So do I believe should I have more faith that he's going to get something right at 3? Yep, I do.
I like that, Johnny.
That's the way I look at it.
So you may not love the pick, but I think you're going to fall in love with the person. And that's all we can do right now.
I think I already have.
On June 26th today, but yesterday the 25th. Like, we're not going to see Edgecomb play until the season starts, right?
Sure.
And
Summer League.
Yeah, but I don't. There's nothing for me.
Maybe he'll dunk on somebody.
I watched Ben Simmons hit fadeaways in Summer League.
Don't put that on this kid.
VJ Edgecomb, obviously.
What happens in Vegas, Connor, stays in Vegas, like with Ben Simmons.
He did the tour of audio, ESPN, NBA TV. He did his own Zoom press conference with members of Philadelphia media. Here he was on NBA TV talking about sort of his inspirational story, his journey to get to the NBA today.
Man, them long nights, I'm telling you, I lived off a generator. I ain't had no electricity. I lived off a generator for 7 years. Man, seeing what she had to go through to feed us, man, it's crazy. It's crazy, but I don't even know, man. My mind everywhere right now, man.
And that was Edgecomb talking about his mother. I mean,
people don't realize, people don't realize what people from the beautiful islands, we go and visit the beautiful islands.
Yeah.
And we go and visit them and we're like, wow, it's awesome.
It's the it's the great resorts and everything.
My wife's dad ran a casino supper club. My wife's dad had a 5th grade education. My wife's dad, his father got murdered working on the railroad in Cuba and was literally on a boat and got a thing. My mother-in-law, their family, they had like 1 chicken to feed 11 kids.
Yeah.
People
little different out there.
People they think, oh, Jamaica.
Yeah.
Oh, Bahamas.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great.
Don't worry, be happy.
Yeah, it's great. We're going to these all-inclusives.
Yeah.
They don't realize how hard the lives are, even of people who lead amazing lives. Sometimes they have to overcome amazing things. And this young man, he's a story worth rooting for.
Yeah, absolutely. And then he spoke to the members of the media afterward, and he was talking about his character. And Listen closely to what he has to say. And again, I'm not trying to attack Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey's an 18-year-old kid, just like VJ Edgecomb is a 19-year-old kid. So
You just hired the wrong people.
right, like I'm not here attacking Ace Bailey and his character, but take a listen to what VJ Edgecomb had to say about himself and sort of what went into the process of him getting selected 3rd overall.
It means a lot. They see something that can also help with on the court things, and that's with my character. I don't think. If I was a bad person, I doubt they would have picked me. Or if my character wasn't likable, or I don't think they would have picked me. So it shows a lot about who they are as people. That they care more about the game than basketball. They care more about basketball. They care more about how he is as a person. Also, things that can translate off the court. Like I said, it's a city of brotherly love, man. So I don't think they want anyone here that don't show love or anything like that.
So
You don't think that there was some of that there?
what?
Like that some of that was the reaction to what they saw with the Ace Bailey situation?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I do think there's something there.
Ace Bailey, and last night you saw more of it. He surrounded himself with incompetence.
Yeah.
The people that he chose to represent him, they were incompetent. They cost him money.
Yeah.
But Danny Ainge,
And then he still ends up going to a place he didn't want to go to.
I mean, it's the last place he probably wanted to go.
By the way, he said, if you remember, even though the Sixers were not one of the teams he wanted to come to, he wanted to be on the East Coast.
Yes.
So not only did he get drafted by a team he didn't want to go to, he's not even on the coast that he wants to be on.
Yeah, and
he's not even on a coast.
And Danny Ainge is going to get him in line quickly. Danny Ainge doesn't play.
Right.
I mean, he's playing. He's working for a GM. Look, there's one thing is a president of basketball operations like Daryl Morey is a guy who is he's cool. Daryl's cool. He tries to relate to players in different ways. Danny Ainge is an ex-player.
Yeah.
Danny Ainge don't play. He's not going to stand for this. Oh, I want to be a star crap. He's going to be like, yeah, go work, kid.
Yeah.
Show me. I don't want to hear.
We'll try to get you to become a star.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about you being a star.
Right.
Let's. How about you become a player first, and then we'll talk about you being a star.
And so when you hear Edgecomb talking about, I don't think they would have drafted me if I didn't have good character. Again, I
believe Daryl cares about that.
I'm trying not to attack Ace Bailey here because he's an 18-year-old kid and he just got drafted yesterday. Congratulations to him, right? Like that's amazing. But,
and enjoy Utah.
But maybe there is something to it. And that's why I said at the beginning of the show, and I'd love to get people's reaction to this at 610-632-0975. Obviously, your overall reaction to the selection. Why would you add to the dysfunction that this team has had for many years now? The youth that you have seen, to your point, John, the youth has been functional, right? Like you're bringing in young players.
You have two guys in Maxey and McCain,
right,
who are exceptional young men.
Yeah. And I'll add Quentin Grimes to that, too. Just off my very limited, when I had him on at the Sixers Gala with me and Bill, like being able to converse with him on air, but also off the air. Like, he seemed like a really good dude. Maybe they're starting to surround this team with good people and guys that want to play basketball and guys that are hungry. And that's why when you hear Edgecomb talk about how he lived off of a generator for 7 years and he starts crying, gets emotional talking about his mom trying to put food on the plate. Like, this guy's hungry, man.
Yeah, because he's thinking about the idea of that I'm going to get to tell my mom that, Mom, everything's covered for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I got you a house. Mom, those videos always bring me to tears.
Mom, everything's covered. Your life's covered now, Mom. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I got you. And he seems like a beautiful person. And now, can he be a great basketball player?
And we'll find that out.
Now we get selfish. Now we start worried about the basketball.
So let's hear from Jay Billis one more time. Another clip from yesterday. Obviously, these are all quick because they're getting ready for the next pick. Here was Jay Billis more on VJ Edgecomb.
It's high reward with lower risk.
Yeah.
So Ace Bailey is high reward, but a little bit more risk. So I agree with you. I think they did the right thing here.
So he said high reward with low risk, whereas Ace Bailey is high reward with higher risk.
Yeah, because he's a young man who thinks he's already arrived. And look, again, I don't think it's ripping Ace Bailey to talk about what Ace Bailey put out there on Front Street.
Over the last 3 weeks, he did that to himself.
He considers himself a star. He considers himself already arrived. That's not what the Sixers got with Edgecomb.
Yeah. All right, so coming up next, we'll hear from you for the first time this morning at 610-632-0975. Big Sixers draft reaction day. We also have the Phillies to get into because the Phillies dropped their second game of this series with the Houston Astros, once again getting blanked. And there are some things from Dave Dombrowski that I have to react to that I might lose my damn mind. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Thursday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Ray Dunn, Mike Missanelli.
The Phillies are 30.
to the selection of VJ Edgecomb, third overall. We'll get to our text messages here momentarily. You can text in at 610-632-0975. I see a YouTube comment from the Bull RJ says, VJ sold me. I really understand coming from nothing, so I really want him to win. I was a complete Ace Bailey dude, but VJ's story is something I can relate to.
Love that. I love that people who are as fans can be moved.
Yeah.
Like, can be moved on their position. I still think, like him, that Ace was the best talent. But as you say, who are you bringing in? What kind of person are you bringing in? And to me, Edgecomb, just listen to him speak. Listen to his story. He's the kind of guy you want in your organization.
And hunger's real. Now,
it is real.
Another comment I want to address. It's either Navon or Navon Moses checks in.
What's up?
Great name, by the way.
Yeah, I get John, and he gets that.
Sixers took a guy at 3 that's coming off the bench. Make it make sense with this organization. You can't make this ish up. Fire Morey. All right, let's unpack this a little bit.
Okay. I can. By the way, we both are probably going to disagree with the comment, but we understand the comment.
I understand
right?
because the Sixers had the 3rd overall pick. When you think of 3rd overall pick, you're thinking star player or maybe all-star.
You're thinking Tatum.
You're thinking of Jason Tatum.
Absolutely.
So a couple of things.
Good job, Connor.
This draft was not that draft.
That is correct.
There's a reason why what I actually wanted to do was to trade back. I know you wanted to take Ace Bailey and hold him hostage.
Which, by the way, I was stupid because it obviously wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, but we didn't.
It wouldn't have worked. No, because the only the person that probably would have made the move for him would have been the 5th pick or the 6th pick. So you wouldn't have gotten Edgecomb.
Right. Well, that's if you were totally in love with Edgecomb. Like, I'm not totally.
Which I believe they were.
I am not totally in love with the guy. I like the kid.
No, but I think Daryl was.
Right. And so that draft is yesterday's draft is not Jason Tatum draft where he's going 3rd overall, right?
Okay, there you go.
If you draft Ace Bailey, there's a chance that he's the starter, right? If you drafted any of the guards, they're probably coming off the bench.
Absolutely, they would.
You have Maxey and McCain, who will most likely be your starting backcourt. So even if you did draft a Johnson, right? He's probably coming off.
He's not starting
off the bench
opening night
because you have 2 guards already. Joel Embiid is your center. Paul George is one of your starting wings. Honestly, the starting spot is probably the 4 because Paul George is not a 4.
That person is not coming in here starting week 1, like beginning of the season, even probably first half of their season. So, I mean,
yeah,
you're not drafting a starter then either.
Odds are any of the guards that they could have selected that people were saying, oh, well, I wish they went with this guy instead. They were probably all of them coming off the bench at least to start.
And is Ace Bailey,
Ace Bailey's probably a starter with the way this team is constructed.
That's what I said.
But now Paul George is playing the 4 because Ace Bailey's only 6'7".
And that's probably
shoes put him at 6'10".
But that's what he's thinking.
Right.
And I understand the point of view. I'm not mocking that point of view.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. I get where somebody's saying, wait a minute here. 3rd pick in the draft and you're drafting somebody for your bench? I get it.
For your bench for now. And that could end up changing because
it could.
VJ Edgecomb's defense next to Tyrese Maxey, and you heard Daryl Morey talk about that. He didn't say Edgecomb's defense, and we have plenty of clips that we'll play for you. Daryl Morey did not say Edgecomb's defense next to Quentin Grimes or next to Jared McCain.
That is correct.
He said next to Tyrese Maxey. So think of that. And again,
that was opening the door. He took you behind the curtain, and I don't know how much he wanted to reveal.
And oh, by the way, I know we look at starting 5s, right, all the time. It's who you're finishing with. That's what ultimately matters.
Well, honestly, too,
you could start and play 18 minutes. There could be a guy that's coming off the bench that plays more. It's just how the rotations work.
Your top 7 guys sometimes can average out the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way things go.
Absolutely. All right, what do we got on the text line, Connor? You can text the show at 610-632-0975. We appreciate all the discourse on YouTube. I know we poke fun at our YouTube audience because a lot of times they're poking fun at us.
Exactly.
So that's why. But I appreciate when we're talking sports.
Yes, you like that.
And we're talking ball right now. And you know me, I love basketball. So I love that we're talking ball.
Listen to you.
What do we got on the text line today?
Talking ball.
So I got to lead this one with this is not the prevailing opinion on the text line.
Okay.
But Steve checks in, and he's a ray of sunshine this morning. Says Edgecomb has no offensive skill set. Bad handle. Decent but inconsistent shooting. Can't finish with his offhand. Can't create his own shot. Trey Johnson was the unfortunately obvious choice here.
I like Trey Johnson a lot. Amy Fadul just sort of really was.
Yeah, she really liked
She
him,
was
yeah.
sort of moving me in that direction, as far as that choice. But I disagree because if you think his offensive game is that bad, I would love to hear what he thought when now he wasn't taken third, but Tyrese Maxey was selected.
Now, the thing is with Trey Johnson, nobody had him as a top 3 pick. So if we're complaining about
nobody
overdrafting VJ Edgecomb, then you'd be having the same conversation about Trey Johnson. Now, in today's NBA, I get it. 3-point shooting is important, and that's something that Trey Johnson can do. But you know what else is important? And we just saw it in these NBA finals.
What's that?
Perimeter defense. Both the Thunder and the Pacers are very good at it. The Sixers are not. You drafted a guy that actually can do something that this team has needed for a long time. You had your quick bursts with Matisse Thybulle, who always got beat off the dribble. It was just his recovery that was good.
Dude, 2 today?
And Robert Covington deflecting passes in the lanes. This is a guy that can actually defend somebody one-on-one. And that's something that you don't have. Now, somebody will take exception to that. Oh, so you're telling me you drafted a guy for defensive purposes? You're going to have to hope that his offensive game grows, but he can already do something at an above-average level.
And did you not see, again, not to use the same example, but have we not seen guys like Maxey grow their offensive game exponentially at the NBA level? There's no reason this guy can't because he had a better offensive game at the collegiate level.
That's the thing that's so funny to me for a lot of people. Oh, come on, man. You think Ace Bailey's game isn't all that great? You don't think he's going to improve? He's only 18. So VJ Edgecomb's birthday is in a month and 4 days. He will not be able to buy alcohol. You know why? Because he's turning 20. Why is it that because Ace Bailey's turning 19, his game's going to grow, but VJ Edgecomb's a finished product at 19 going on 20?
I honestly would tell you this. I hear both men interviewed the night they're drafted. One of them sounds 25. One of them sounds 18.
Yeah.
And it's Edgecomb who sounds like a grown man.
Who turns 20 next month. Ace Bailey turns 19 in August.
One feels they're already a star. One feels that they're going to work for it.
I will say, though, seeing Ace Bailey, date of birth, August 13th, 2006.
God, we're old.
It's amazing.
2006? What?
Where did he get the Michael
man.
Jackson jacket from?
Yeah, that was a look.
I mean, that was incredible.
That was a look. Give us one more text message, Connor.
All right, so this texter checks in, says, I like VJ's personality. I just don't like the pick because of how he fits. Once they re-sign Grimes, they have 4 smallish guards, and I hope I'm wrong, but I see more Iman Shumpert than I see Victor Oladipo from him. And even then, Shumpert isn't a bad thing, just not worth number 3.
You mean NBA champion Iman Shumpert?
Oh, jeez.
Come on. He's saying it's not a number 3 overall pick, which I get how people feel that way.
And that's why I have been saying
we all
since
understand
the lottery that whoever you get at 3 was not going to be some franchise-changing player. It's wild, right? We've been talking about the Thunder and the tanking.
Sure.
Maybe they tanked in a better era of basketball than the Sixers did. The Sixers won a lottery. Like, they won the lottery, being able to keep their pick and climb up to 3. Maybe it was bad timing.
Yeah.
Right? Because
the best pick the Thunder had was they had a 2 and a 6.
Yeah.
They had the 2 years they tanked. They got a 2 and a 6. But Sixers had 1s and 3s.
But no, that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is you won the lottery with the 3rd overall pick in a year where it falls off after 2.
Right.
It's just the way that it is. So you drafted a guy that you think fits good with your organization. All right, coming up next, we'll reset today's topics. We'll look at some more text messages. Also, to start the 7 o'clock hour, we have Phillies reaction to get into.
Do we have to?
Yes, we do, because I heard Dave Dombrowski say something that made me lose sleep. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Adding an athletic guard, I'm Connor Thomas, and the Sixers stayed put at number 3 last night in the NBA draft, selecting 6'4" guard VJ Edgecomb out of Baylor. Edgecomb had his athleticism strongly stand out among draft prospects, and he talked on NBA TV about being the best athlete in the class.
They're getting a unique athlete, man. I think I'm the best athlete in the class, if you ask me. I can jump as high as anybody in here, run as fast as anybody in here. I'm gonna play my heart out.
The main question with Edgecomb is how does he fit with a backcourt that already has Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain, so we'll keep an eye on that. The Sixers also hold the 5th pick in the second round, number 35 overall. They'll make that selection tonight. The Phillies were shut out again last night in Houston as the offensive woes continued. Zach Wheeler was great on the mound, but it doesn't matter if you don't score. The Phils will try and get right in the series ender versus Houston. Hey, maybe even score a run today at 2:10 p.m. Christopher Sanchez faces off against Hunter Brown in the pitching matchup. The NHL draft starts tomorrow night, so we'll keep you updated on this, I should say. This update is brought to you by Mattress Firm. Mattress Firm's July 4th sale is your chance to reclaim your restless nights and upgrade to a premium mattress. Get matched sleep at night. This update's also brought to us by our friends over at Wendy's, who has $1 soft drinks, any size, all breakfast long, whether that's Coke, Sprite, Strawberry Fanta, whatever you want. Any size soft drink for $1. Gotta be Wendy's. Limited time only at participating Wendy's. Terms apply. I'm Connor Thomas, and you're listening to the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Vacation? Business trip? Don't worry. You can...
.75 The Fanatic. All right, we'll get to some Phillies talk here in a few minutes because they had another inspiring performance last night against the Houston Astros. But obviously, the main talking point today is reacting to the NBA draft that took place last night, round 1, because they've turned this into a 2-day event.
Completely unnecessary.
So round 1 was last night, and the Sixers select VJ Edgecomb, guard out of Baylor, with the 3rd overall pick.
Why did they need 7 minutes to? Or is it 5? It seemed because it took longer because they said 5 minutes.
It's 5 to get the pick in, and then an extra 15 for them to run all the stuff.
It took forever.
So
I'm like, okay, 5 minutes. It took forever.
I was wrong. Yesterday on the show, I told you that you would waste 5 minutes of your life waiting for Cooper Flagg to be selected. It was even longer.
No, it was like 13. It was like 13 minutes to tell us that Cooper Flagg, a guy who already bought a condo in Dallas.
Dude, Duke basketball. Hold on a second.
He already bought a condo.
Wait, Duke, the official Duke basketball Twitter account
already had it, right?
Posted a video or a photo congratulating him, like hours before the NBA draft. And why are you making us wait? Honestly, the clock should just start at the 2nd overall pick.
Even then, Dylan Harper was a lock.
Yeah, the draft started with the Sixers.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
that's what was the amazing part.
It was a great opportunity, though, to take a little longer before the Sixers pick to get to meet Dylan Harper's family.
Yeah.
It was well worth it.
There you go, 3:35 p.m. Congrats at Dallas Mavs from the Duke basketball Twitter account, and it was a highlight reel of Cooper Flagg. At 3:30.
Come on.
And you made me wait 13 minutes to announce the pick? Come on, we got bedtimes to get to, damn it.
Oh, you had nothing else going on.
I was reading
the Phillies put
I was
you to
reading
sleep.
Roto and Roy, Helicopter Heroes to Cooper.
Again?
Yes, that's his favorite book.
That's what you, Connor.
Dude, once you get one
That's
book,
what you do. There you go through series with books, and
Hell
then
yeah, man.
Goodnight Moon
Roto
gets
and
a
Roy.
run. Yeah.
All right, give us a couple text messages because I know this isn't a selection that people are totally in love with. I know there's a lot of confusion around the draft pick. I also know that there are people that just sit there and go, wow, you drafted another guard. You already have 4 of them. All these things are totally fair. I never thought that this selection, regardless of who it was going to be a franchise-changing player. I like the kid's attitude. I like that the kid has room to improve offensively. I like that the real basketball people like Jay Billis, like I'm a fake football guy, I'm also a fake basketball guy.
You are good.
Jay Billis tells you he can hit the open 3, and that's a good start. And that is a good start. And you need that because you've not really had that in recent years. Guys that can create their own shot is great. But when you have the guy that has the open look that can't hit the shot, that has been something that has plagued the Sixers, regardless of which era this team has had over the last 6 or 7 years. Robert Covington, the 3-and-D guy that couldn't hit a shot. Here's your third Matisse Thybulle mentioned that couldn't hit his shot. P.J. Tucker, when he came here, that was what he made his living off of in Houston, couldn't hit his open shots here. Tobias Harris could not be the corner 3-point shooter that you needed. You need a guy that can hit the open shot. We won't really see it till the season starts, but the basketball people are telling you that he can do it. What do we got in the text line?
Dave in Mount Laurel likes the pick. He says, taking Ace at 3 would have been a typical Philly blunder and added to a team laden with dysfunction. VJ was the best available pick who could be a net big positive. Love the pick under the circumstances.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, saying stuff like he was the best available pick, I don't know if that's true. I just don't know who was for what they wanted, they clearly wanted a good character guy. They wanted defense. Daryl Morey literally said, this will go well next to Tyrese Maxey. They want youth. They want athleticism, which, by the way, duh. They've been needing that. So they're adding to that. And so yesterday, I'm not hooting and hollering. Like when the Sixers got Ben Simmons, even though we knew they were selecting Ben Simmons, that was a hoot and holler for me.
And how many guards, the people that will say, well, they got too many guards or whatever. That's sort of like saying, well, the Eagles already have 2 corners. It's why would they go get a 3rd or a 4th? You need 5.
Yeah.
You maybe 6. You need a
corners,
lot.
yes. Yeah,
God forbid this team has a bench.
Yeah, you need depth.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing. As you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. When you hear 3rd overall pick, you're thinking star. Jason Tatum, as you mentioned, Connor. This team, anytime Joel Embiid sits down, when healthy, anytime he sits down and goes to the bench for his 18 minutes, they suck. They suck.
No, bad.
Look at the Knicks playoff series, the plus minus.
But what is it? They can't score.
Yes. They can't play defense.
Right. Well, they don't.
There's
they
a
don't
lot
play
of things they can't do. So maybe bolstering the bench might not be the worst idea.
Not a bad idea.
All right. Phillies yesterday. Don't worry, we will continue talking about the NBA draft. That's not going away, and we'll be mixing in text messages on it. The Phillies lost to the Astros yesterday, 2-0. Second straight game they got blanked. It's been 3-0 total in this series. Great pitching by both sides. Zach Wheeler yesterday, 6 innings, 4 hits, 8 strikeouts, 1 earned run. Matt Strahm gives up another run.
Yeah, shocking.
In the 8th inning. That's why you need to bolster this bullpen, and you can't rely on Matt Strahm being a guy for you in high leverage situations. But the Phillies lose 2-0. So it's amazing, John, how two people can watch a game and have two different responses.
Okay.
Or reactions to it. So there was a guy who tweeted and tagged both you and I in it. I don't know if you saw this last night around 10 o'clock, right around when the game ended.
Damn, I guess I'll kick rocks.
Yeah, you were not a part of this tweet. It was from Nathan. So Nathan tweets and tags John and I saying, this is why you don't go all in on this team at the deadline. Now I get all in. Like you don't want to trade
Well, all in, though.
5 prospects or whatever.
When I read it, I agreed with them.
Now here's the thing.
On all in.
Right. I got you. I am willing to move prospects, and I got a totally different response from me watching this game yesterday. I have now watched my starting pitching staff of Ranger Suarez and Zach Wheeler go up against a very good team in the Houston Astros, pitch incredible, and yet this offense that is lacking a right-handed power bat, that is lacking other consistent areas of offense, put up 0 runs. If I can add to this lineup with a legitimate center fielder, not a Brandon Marsh or Johan Rojas, and one of these right-handed pop bats, and they can start putting together runs consistently with the starting pitching that is pitching consistently well, that's why I would add to this team. I have the best rotation in baseball, arguably. But it means nothing if they're scoring 0 runs or 1 run.
Okay, that is absolutely correct. That's correct. I don't believe there's a center fielder, though, that's – unless there's something that Buster Olney and Tim Kirkjian and Jason Stark don't know about. That center fielder doesn't exist on the market.
Again,
and if I hear one more thing about Robert,
right,
or I hear one more thing about these guys aren't upgrades.
Right, no, they're not upgrades. That center fielder could be Crawford being called up.
No, they won't do that.
And you acquire a corner outfielder.
We have an organization that won't do that. That won't do what, like the Braves bringing up a 20-year-old to start a game the other day because, hey, they had a spot to start a guy and said, hey, let's bring up a young pitcher. Let's throw him to the Wolves and see what he does. Oh, by the way, he didn't drown. You know, let's see what he does. See how it goes. This organization's scared to freaking death. Even after they see a guy for years performing at the minor leagues at a high level. Scared to death. He may come up here and wet his pants. Oh, my gosh, that could hurt his value. They're scared of their own shadow, and it bothers me to no end.
I hear you. So your lineup yesterday, Turner, Schwarber, Bohm, Castellanos, Real Muto. Obviously, if Harper's there, a couple guys drop down a spot, right? Bryson Stott, Edmundo Sosa, Otto Kemp, Brandon Marsh. Marsh had 2 hits yesterday. Good for him. That's not going to cut it. And that's why you lose 2-0 again. And when Nick Castellanos and Bohm and Real Muto are your 3, 4, 5 hitters because of Harper's absence, and you go a collective 0 for 12, that's going to kill you.
I will give him credit for not putting Buddy Kennedy back out there and shifting things around.
I agree. Because there was another lefty on the mound yesterday.
How'd you feel knowing that the bottom of the lineup was coming up again when you're down in a 1-0 game, which became a 2-0 game? How'd you feel like, knowing that
the game over?
Exactly. Like they just...
That's why when Harper comes back, and if you're going to acquire a right-handed pop bat, this lineup will look different. Maybe not worlds better, but it will look different.
And the what if of the whole thing that you're trying to make the argument on, 2 swings, and the Phillies could have won the last 2 games.
Right.
Right? So the pitching staff, the starting pitching is going to keep you in it.
And that's why, I get my reaction different of, man, they need to do something because I can't waste this starting pitching that they have. Now, the bullpen is still the biggest problem. I need that to be clear, even though I'm talking about how you need to acquire a right-handed pop bat. The biggest problem with this baseball team is still the bullpen. But if I can get 6, 7 shutout or 1-run innings out of my starting pitching, and I can acquire 1 or 2 bullpen arms, but my team is still scoring 1 or 2 runs in these games, you might lose those. Duh. Because you're not putting up any runs. So yesterday, my reaction is they need to do something because you can't waste this pitching staff.
If you don't have PTSD from watching that,
Oh, I know.
it's the last 3 years playoffs again. And what did you do? You just keep running it back. And this is what happens.
And that's why I have said...
It's a good team. You're playing a really, really good team that can win the World Series. You're playing them in their park, and you are lifeless.
Yeah.
And more importantly, too, and Connor, I saw your tweet last night, and it drove me nuts.
Good.
We're really unlucky. No, we're not. No, we're not. This is 4 years of this. We're not unlucky. They're a really good team that's going to win 90-some games, which they should.
Yeah.
But their fatal flaws and their same flaws, which, by the way, their approach at the plate in these games has been horrendous. Same stuff comes back. You're getting tight, getting nervous. Games are a little tighter. And the same crap comes back. You're not playing you're not playing the Rockies. You're not playing these, and things aren't going well. You're not up by 4 runs where everybody's feeling a little easier. This team could make sawdust out of these bats.
They grip the bat. Now, again, this is why I said, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, following they won 2 of 3 against the Mets, right? And remember, people were upset that we were being negative that day. This is why I don't want to gamble, because to me this is gambling and betting on we just need to get hot. No, you just need to get better, and you can do that by adding at the trade deadline. Relying on just getting hot is not a good strategy.
You're going to have to beat 3 teams like the Astros, minimum, and that's if you win your division, in long series, back to back to back.
Yeah.
If you think you have any kind of team that's built to do that, to do 3 weeks in a row, I think, again, you're bluffing yourself and you haven't watched the last 3 Octobers. Well, they're not built to do that.
The problem with all of this, Johnny, will Dave Dombrowski realize for the trade deadline?
Are we going to hear from him?
Coming up next, you will hear a clip that made me literally lose sleep last night.
Oh, no.
We continue the Sixers' reaction to drafting VJ Edgecomb. We'll get more of your text messages on it at 610-632-0975. But Dave Dombrowski made me lose sleep last night. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Ricky Bo, Bill Colarulo.
Look, you got the professional...
morning here on Kincade Salciunas.
That's why you guys are so happy.
Hell yeah, man. We have 4 $50 gift cards to give away. Let's give our first of the day. I would say in honor of John Kincade, the number 7, but that was VJ Edgecomb's number in Baylor. So in honor of VJ Edgecomb, but sure, also John Kincade. Caller 7-610-632-0975 will win our first of 4 $50 gift cards to Wendy's. Wendy's breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie bundles lets you choose your perfect duo from your fave 4, including a sausage or egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, or medium hot coffee at participating U.S. Wendy's. Caller number 7-610-632-0975. All right, let's sneak in a Sixers text here because we open up the Phillies conversation. I don't want the Sixers conversation to go away, and I know a lot of people are chiming in this morning about the Sixers. Our YouTube chat is on fire today. If you would like to continue to talk with your fellow Sixers fans, check us out on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and then all of a sudden you can chime in with all our other favorite YouTube people. And, of course, we also have the text line at 610-632-0975. What do we got?
So Miz from Northeast Philly checks in and says, is Bailey the better talent coming out of college? Yes, but he didn't want to be here. Personally, I don't care how good he might be. If he didn't want to be here, let him go. This team has been a running joke of distractions, a young 3-and-D player who's athletic and can play above the rim. Sixers haven't had that since Andre Iguodala.
So here's another thing to that point, to the dysfunction and everything, and the you bring in a 3-and-D player. Daryl Morey had a really weird decision to make. And you and I talked about this the day that I ended up having him on with Amy, about whether or not he was drafting for this team.
Correct.
Or for the future. And Daryl Morey gave the correct political answer, both. A guy that can make an immediate impact and a guy that we can continue to build around once some of these guys are out the door, right? Ace Bailey, from a basketball standpoint, yeah, sure, he fits, but he's a guy that needs to shoot the ball, right?
He needs his hand on the ball a lot.
So when is he getting that shot with Maxey, Embiid, George, McCain? He might not get it that much. Now, then you have to think, well, are you drafting for now or are you drafting for later? You draft a guy in VJ Edgecomb who you hope can improve his offensive game down the road, but his selection is an immediate impact right now from a defensive guard standpoint, which you don't have. And then you hope that when Embiid is at the tail end of that contract and Paul George is at the tail end of that contract, that his offensive game has gone up so that you can consider him a guy that you build around in that next phase. So maybe Edgecomb was the answer for the both here and now and also the future, whereas Ace Bailey, I don't know how he necessarily fits when he's a guy that's going to want to shoot the ball a lot, which is why he wanted to go to a team where he's going to be the guy, and he can do that in Utah.
And
he could have done that with the Wizards. He could have done that with the Pelicans if they move on from Zion. He's not doing that here.
No, he wouldn't. It wouldn't have been, but he also wasn't willing to supplant his needs for anyone else.
Correct.
And to me, that's where he got really bad advice.
Yes, and I agree.
Really bad advice. And by the way, the difference in his money is probably only $6.5 million, I think. Difference.
Sounds nice.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like $6 million or something like that, so it's not bad.
All right. I lost sleep last night.
Yeah, I want to hear why about this. In the real reality of this.
So Jason Stark, the Starkville podcast, him and Doug Landville,
sure,
had Dave Dombrowski on, and Jason Stark ended up coming on with Mike yesterday and talked more about it. So we'll play some clips from Jason Stark and his conversation with Mike. But this is a clip from the podcast where Dave Dombrowski talked about the upcoming trade deadline, which is a little over a month away.
Okay.
Take a listen to where he thinks the majority of the needs are, and then just take a listen to what he's saying in between that made me lose sleep.
Well, I think it's logical to assume the bullpen part of it because when you look at your club, it's not going to be starting pitching. So it's not going to be that. Our lineup when we're like we are right now, and again, I haven't been against giving young players the opportunity to fit into the right situation with an Otto Kemp being a right-handed bat. There have been 2 trade deadlines where we advanced and we ended up adding Rafael Devers and Andrew Benintendi when I was with Boston, and they did great for us the last couple of months of the season. So you can add from your own system in that regard, and you compare it to who else may be available. So that really leaves the back end of the bullpen really much more so than anything else as Now, again, you analyze what's going on all the time and you see what's taking place. But I would say first and foremost, that would be our main focus.
Is he really going to use – did he really try it out? And I can't believe it. Did he really try it out? I'm not against using young guys. Look, I brought up Otto Kemp.
Mm-hmm.
What a seriously.
Yeah, he also brought up Buddy Kennedy when he forced
seriously,
his hand.
Dave.
He also brought up Weston Wilson, who was 30.
Otto Kemp, Weston Wilson, Buddy Kennedy, and you're leaving a center fielder down there at your biggest position of need, and you're bringing a guy who has done nothing but perform, and you're leaving him down there because you're scared as an organization. That's unacceptable, and that's such an annoying answer.
So when he said...
Such an annoying answer.
When he stopped himself. He said, obviously we need to add to our bullpen, which we're not disagreeing with. And he said, our rotation, we don't need to add to. I agree with. And then he said, and when our lineup is like we are right now, that's the quote. When our lineup is like we are right now. And then he stopped, and then he started talking about I'm not afraid to bring up young players. Earlier this week, I said to you guys, I do not want to gamble on if we get hot. You just heard Dave Dombrowski say, now obviously this was recorded before the Astros series.
Correct.
Well, look at our lineup when we're hot, like we are right now. That is not how you continue to build your team. It's what I said last year when the team was putting franchise records of wins. Franchise records. I still yelled and screamed to the point where people were tired of it that I kept on bringing up center field. Betting on your team getting hot because you've seen it before is a horrible, horrible mindset to have. And then you bring up, we were playing Otto Kemp. Cool, man.
You're bringing up you're using Otto Kemp as a hey. I'm not against bringing up young players. I brought up Otto Kemp. He's 25. He's 25, and he's a marginal major league player.
Well, and that's the other thing. Otto Kemp in a lineup where Bryce Harper is not in right now because he's hurt. He batted 8th yesterday.
He's 25.
So you're telling me these guys that we're going to call up, and then if you're talking about Crawford that you're going to call him up at some point, are you going to call him up in September and say, hey, you got 1 month?
Hey, I'm not against bringing up young guys. Look, I brought up Crawford this year after letting the whole year fritter away because you're afraid of your own shadow. Punxsutawney Phil should run this franchise right now.
I lost sleep with that clip yesterday.
They have the third best record in baseball, so the year isn't frittered away.
And the same thing is... do you want to know the ending, or should I spoil it for you, Connor?
We don't know the ending because the guys aren't here
Should I
yet.
spoil it for you?
All right, coming up next.
Then let's not play the season.
We'll run through some more clips. The man who conducted that interview, Jason Stark, joined the Mike Missanelli show yesterday.
Wait till you hear this.
He gave some more insight on the upcoming trade deadline, his thoughts on Dave Dombrowski, and more. It is Kincade and Salciunas, 97.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Sixers stay at 3. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by Macy's Backstage. Macy's Backstage is a whole new floor inside your Macy's, and right now you'll find the latest summer styles all for under $25 with new arrivals every day. You never know what amazing deals you're going to find at Macy's Backstage. The Sixers stayed put at pick number 3 last night. No trades or anything like that. They selected 6'4" guard out of Baylor, VJ Edgecomb. Edgecomb had his athleticism stand out in the pre-draft process, and he talked about his athletic ability on NBA TV after getting drafted.
They're getting a unique athlete, man. I think I'm the best athlete in the class, if you ask me. I can jump as high as anybody in here, run as fast as anybody in there. I'm gonna play my heart out.
You love the confidence, and you love the playing the heart out thing. The main question with Edgecomb is how he fits in with a backcourt that already has Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain, so we'll keep you updated on that. The Sixers also hold the 5th pick in the second round. They'll make that selection tonight. Phils were shut out for the second straight game in Houston. The offensive woes continued for them. Zach Wheeler, great on the mound, but just like Ranger Suarez's start, doesn't matter if he can't score. Phils will try and get across home plate today in the series ender versus Houston at 2:10 p.m. first pitch with Christopher Sanchez on the mound against Hunter Brown. The NHL draft starts tomorrow night, so we'll keep you updated on that. This update's also brought to you by Wendy's. They have $1 soft drinks, any size, all breakfast long. Coke, Sprite, Strawberry Fanta, whatever you want. Any size soft drink for $1. Got to be Wendy's. Limited time only at participating Wendy's. Terms apply. I'm Connor Thomas, and you're listening to the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 9.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
P. So we read you the quote yesterday when he was being critical of Ace Bailey. Like he was Ace Bailey's like number one fan for the longest time.
He loved his game.
And then he started seeing everything that was happening. He said, look, if he falls, he has nobody to blame but himself. He may be getting bad information, but he has nobody to blame but himself. He talked about VJ Edgecomb. Quote, I think he's kind of like Jimmy Butler.
Wow.
Just a dog, plays hard, plays both ends, and he has that toughness about him. So, high praise from a player that he's going to be playing with. And this is before the draft pick.
absolutely, right.
So it's not like he's saying, oh, now that they drafted VJ Edgecomb, let me say nice things about him. He was saying that before him. So, good.
But he loved Ace Bailey's game.
Yeah. But he was honest when everything was unfolding. He straight up said, look, he has nobody to blame but himself. All right, well, let's get another Sixers text in. Again, I don't want the Sixers conversation to go away because we start getting into some Phillies. By the way, a comment on YouTube from Smeagol.
What's up, Smeagol? Is that a eagle?
Lord of the Rings thing.
It's a Lord of the Rings.
I don't know that one. You're going to have to fill me in. Is that the store I went to in?
No, that's Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Okay, I can't keep these things straight. So
this is where sometimes, we go over the deep end when we're upset with something. But I get what he's saying. Being poor doesn't make you a better basketball player. This guy will not amount to anything on this team. We just grabbed Thibault 2.0.
Wow. Thibault, get out of here.
So this guy
It's
will
a good
not
pick, in my opinion.
This guy won't amount to anything on this team. Like, how do you know that?
Stop. Nope. Come on.
I'm not even sitting here telling you that
a third. You think Matisse Thybulle could have been the third pick in any NBA draft? Stop it.
I'm not telling you that they hit a home run with the selection, but to say like the day after the draft, this guy's gonna suck.
He's gonna be Matisse Thybulle.
He's not gonna amount to anything. Like, come on, man.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you, Smeagol, for commenting and watching. And he just said, "Hey guys." So,
what the scary part now is stuff's coming out on Omar Cooper, who has been representing Ace Bailey.
Okay.
So now there's stuff coming out of the Utah press this morning. Do you know that Omar Cooper, who was representing Ace Bailey, who people were saying this guy's getting bad information, he was his coach from his travel team and helped him relocate for high school. But he also, too, was requesting cash for on-camera interviews of teams.
Wow.
And also requesting cash for him to attend workouts.
What?
Yes. Now, no one is. They said that's not. They said it's not documented. At the draft, teams were more than one team representative talking about that there were questions about. Yeah, well, what are you paying him to come in and if he's going to work out for you? What's he getting? Is he making some money? What's this going to get? Not just the teams usually put you up in a nice hotel,
food,
all this kind of stuff. By the way, I meant to tell you, and I forgot about it. One of our fine listeners, if I got to find the email, works at Park.
Okay, love Park. Yeah,
that was the restaurant that got the canceled reservation.
Oh, so you were right.
It was just an accident.
Wow,
that was totally an accident. So the Sixers were rolling out the red carpet, like the Sixers were doing everything for this kid. They were going to treat him top notch, and look what happens. He ends up in Utah.
Yeah.
Hope he enjoys it.
Enjoy it.
Hope he enjoys it. He can go to Mammoth games now, though.
Yes, he can.
Go see the Utah Mammoth.
By the way, shout out to Smeagol, big listener to the show.
What's up, Smeag?
Once again, the Kensington Andrew. I don't know where that's coming from.
Well, Kensington Andrew, every once in a while, you get a little Kensington angle out of you. Look, he grew up in a neighborhood with a name on it in Jersey. Like Bill Colarulo, they grew up in named neighborhoods.
Yeah.
In suburban Jersey.
We're flashy people. Us rich kids.
Shore houses.
Oh, yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah,
It's a little different.
Punch you in the face.
A little different.
All right,
Not
Jason.
the mean streets of 19008.
Jason Stark joined the Mike Missanelli show yesterday after he had Dave Dombrowski on his podcast, Starkville. Here he is talking about Dombrowski and the job that he's done, the job he's doing, and the mindset of Dombrowski right now.
I think he's extremely honest in many ways and quite revealing what he's willing to talk about, even if he's not going to tell you exactly what he's going to do. You know, he tells stories about his previous years, his previous teams, and they're very instructive. My biggest takeaway is I don't think Dave is looking to make multiple big deals. I think he knows he has starting pitchers. He can transition to the pen when he needs them down the stretch and in October. And because of that, I think he's focused on one big deal, and he'd prefer to use his trade chips on that one guy as opposed to trading for multiple relievers. So, you know, at some point, August, September, depends how everything shakes out, one of the starters goes to the bullpen to fortify whatever they need there. And then, because he told the story of how the 2018 Red Sox won with Nathan Eovaldi pitching out of the pen and Chris Sale pitching out of the pen, and also David Price pitched out of the pen for that team. He's laying the blueprint to tell us how they're going to handle September and October. And I found it really revealing.
Jason Stark knows. When Jason Stark speaks in speculative terms,
oh my God, yeah,
he's speaking in educated terms.
I'll keep on bringing it up. The day Zach Wheeler signed the extension, I had Jason Stark on from the press area in Clearwater, spring training. He said, yeah, he's signing this deal and he's going to retire after it. And now all of a sudden the story comes out this year, 2 years later, yeah, he's going to retire after that contract.
Yeah, he's walking away.
So Jason Stark knows.
He knows. He knows what he's speaking of here. Here's what I would say to it, though, is that's great. That's great that you can say in 7 years ago the Red Sox did this and that it worked. Who's going to the pen?
Well, that's the decision. They're going to evaluate that over the next couple of weeks.
Who's going to the pen? Is Christopher Sanchez going to the pen?
Well, he's thrown out of the pen at the major league level. Remember,
he has.
He's got experience.
So is Ranger Suarez, but you want to take him out of the rotation. Is Ranger Suarez
your best starting pitcher?
Yes, he's starting game 2 for me. Zach Wheeler's my ace.
Zach Wheeler's reputation is
right.
Right now, Ranger Suarez has been your best for 2 months.
Wheeler's going game 1. Ranger Suarez is going game 2. And this is going to be a power ranking that will change every single
day.
day.
It'll change all the time.
Eventually, one of these guys will reveal who's going to the pen.
Yeah. And then, look, when Nola comes back,
And then what does
Nola's
Jesus
not going to the
Luzardo do?
bullpen.
I don't know. He may also.
This
anybody
is, I
could
think this
outside
is,
of Wheeler.
I think this is fluid. I think it could change week by week. So about starters going to the bullpen, Jason Stark talked even more about that.
Yeah, well, he said that. I pressed him. I probably asked him 3 questions about who he might move and how early in the season he would think about moving a starter to the bullpen. Look, he's got Aaron Nola coming back late July, early August. I mean, they're going to call up Andrew Painter at some point. He's going to have extra arms. And, of course, the other thing he mentioned is he's, quote-unquote, acquiring Jose Alvarado for the last 5 or 6 weeks to help him get there. So, he's most focused on we've got to get in, but they've already laid out a blueprint for what happens when they get in, and I think they will. I think the question is, all right, if he's got one big deal that he's focused on, and he's going to use whatever trade chips he's got to acquire that guy, who's he talking about?
Well, the big thing is he revealed that Alvarado's back. So he absolutely
he can say, I don't care what you guys think. He absolutely
revealed that I don't care what any player in the clubhouse thinks. Right. Alvarado's back. So because I can't go and get how many relievers he expected me to trade for, that's his own malpractice that it happened that way.
Right.
But I'm taking Alvarado back.
So Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, Luzardo, Sanchez, Painter, and I have Abel on I wrote him to the side because he could be one of the trade pieces, whether you like it or not.
No, I mean right now, from the sounds of that,
yeah,
I better get used to it.
So
that to me sounds like he's gone.
Let's say he gets traded and it's one of the bullpen arms. You still have 6 guys: Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, Luzardo, Sanchez, Painter. You don't need 6 starters.
No.
And honestly, you probably need 4. So 2 guys could go to the bullpen plus whoever you acquire. That could be your 3 additions to the bullpen. That's when I hear Jason Stark talk.
You're connecting the dots, and I think you're right.
Yeah. Your 3 bullpen arms are 2 guys that are already here. They just start, and then 1 guy that's going to be acquired.
And by the way, I do not, and I refuse. Do not give Dave Dombrowski credit for this. As like, boy, this is a genius plan. Yeah. This is cleanup on aisle 5. This is not some genius plan that works out. This is a cleanup, salvage project.
Because he let bullpen guys go.
Oh, my gosh.
All right, coming up next, we still have plenty of draft reactions. Obviously, we've been talking some Phillies here in the 7 o'clock hour. You can talk about that as well at 610-632-0975. But one sentiment that I saw online being pushed yesterday about Ace Bailey versus VJ Edgecomb that kind of made me laugh. I'll talk about that coming up next. You'll hear from Edgecomb because there's a clip that I want to play specifically off of this sentiment that's being pushed, this new agenda. It is Kincade Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic. We want to hear from you, so text us at Fanatic.
Your breakfast is here, boys.
It is. I'm very excited. We will give away our second $50 Wendy's gift card at some point this segment. So listen closely. All right, so the latest agenda I saw yesterday on the people that wanted Ace Bailey
the latest agenda
over VJ Edgecomb. Because there were a lot of Sixers fans that were just upset that it wasn't Ace Bailey. And I get it. I understand that not many people are in love with the selection of VJ Edgecomb. I think this is somebody that you're going to have to see play, and hopefully his personality is equal to his ability on the court, because his personality is awesome. So I saw a couple of people say this yesterday on social media, and there were a lot of people that were liking it, retweeting, all that kind of stuff, that the Sixers were scared off of by somebody who was confident.
That's ridiculous.
Because Ace Bailey was confident that he wanted to become a star, that he was going to become a star, that he wanted to be promised that he was going to be selected by a team, because there are a lot of asks. I don't see that as confidence. I see that as horrible representation.
Well, he was represented by a guy who was completely over his skis.
Yeah.
Didn't understand. He is not a guy who is top of his line, top of his business. He didn't go with one of the guys. He went with a guy who was overmatched, that didn't understand the business.
Yeah. I just don't see that as confidence. I see that as, I don't know, like immaturity. I'm going to be like, it's great that you think that you can become a star. That's awesome. But then I'm going to become a star in certain areas. Okay, yeah, you're going to become a star on a bad basketball team where you can shoot the ball a lot and score a lot.
Right.
Have fun, man.
I mean, that's great. But the thing is, though, I understand what Ace Bailey wants to do
for the next contract.
I totally get it. And I can understand that. But the fact that his agent didn't even understand the process is that the idea is to get drafted as high as possible. That's what you truly want. And that then you can try to, through back channels, try to get yourself through. All the other guys up there were willing to work out for people. Now, Cooper Flagg wasn't. Because Cooper Flagg was going to, he didn't have to. He's going to Dallas. So there you go.
So if we want to talk about confidence, I'm going to play you one more clip, and then we'll get back to our calls and our text messages. VJ Edgecomb yesterday. I believe he is also a confident individual. Here he was talking about being the most athletic player in this class.
They're getting a unique athlete, man. I don't think I'm the best athlete in the class, if you ask me. I can jump as high as anybody in here, run as fast as anybody in there. I'm gonna play my heart out.
That's confidence. I think I'm the best athlete in this class.
That's confidence.
That's confidence.
And by the way, if you heard the analysis last night, there was a lot of discussion on the panels whether he was the most athletic player in the draft.
Yeah.
So that's being backed up by guys like Jay Billis who believe he is.
Absolutely. All right, let's get some reaction from you. Let's go to Joe in Roxborough. Joe, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hi, Joe.
So I like to pick. I think Bailey thinking that he's entitled to everything when he hasn't really proved anything in the NBA kind of really pissed me off. I don't know, like kids these days, man, they think they're just giving everything when they haven't done nothing. Yeah,
well, the NBA has also kind of pushed that culture, right? Like the NBA has allowed the players to call the shots.
I don't disagree, but like, man, like you haven't proved anything, so like you got to prove yourself first. And then my Phillies point, real quick, John. That article you said about Schwarber, I hope you're wrong.
Right.
I think you're totally right. I think he's going to be gone. And
I don't want him, and you and I both don't want him to be, but it could happen.
Correct. And the fact that Dombrowski said that the lineup that they have, even before the Astros series, that this is good enough to win, he's completely wrong. And to be honest with you, if they don't make a move and they don't do anything, I might have to look about relieving him of his duties.
I can't believe that.
I don't disagree with you there.
I can't believe those words come out of his mouth. Like
when you look at our lineup like it is right now, and that's why I said earlier in the week, I do not want to gamble on being hot at the right time. And that's what I'm hearing the president of baseball operations say.
His plan has declined the results every October, and he keeps doubling down on the plan. So to me,
he has not set this team up to succeed in the postseason, and it's been like that for the last 2 years because he refuses to get a bullpen arm that's adequate enough to pitch and a center fielder that can hit for you. That's just what it is. The guy's just, I don't know.
He had two closers. He had two closers in the offseason. and he let them both walk. And by the way, one of them is having just a spectacular year.
Yeah, he sure is.
The one that I wanted to stay.
Yep.
It would have been great. And he was very affordable. And they let him walk.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
I just can't believe it.
Sir Anthony Dominguez is not allowed to run in.
The thing is, though,
you got to get off the Sir Anthony.
No. I get
10 straight outings.
Connor, that's exactly the opposite of what you should say. Because I'll give my partner a tip of the cap because I was like you. I rolled my eyes at Andrew when he said that last year.
Awesome.
I'm like, seriously, Andrew, you're going to give me Sir Anthony Dominguez? You're worried about Sir Anthony Dominguez they gave up on him too soon? Yes. In retrospect, a year later, Andrew Salciunas was 100% correct, and I was wrong.
Oh, you know what? I was wrong. Not 10 straight outings. 13 straight outings where he's not allowed to run.
If right now, if Sir Anthony Dominguez,
I believe Matt Strom's at 13 straight where he's allowed to run.
Yeah, exactly. It's unbelievable.
You moved him for a guy of more need that didn't work out.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because bullpen's not a need for this team or any playoff team.
Last year they had a very good bullpen. It fell apart in October.
Yeah.
It wasn't because they didn't have Sir Anthony.
More is better than less.
Wait a minute. Whoa, wait a minute. You don't think the bullpen would have been better with Sir Anthony in it?
Yes, it would have been better. Every bullpen arm you had stunk in that series.
But wait a minute. You don't think it would have been better to have him than Austin Hayes on the team?
I think left field was a position of more need for that team than bullpen.
It was still a position of need after you got Austin Hayes.
Yes.
I understand. But they evaluated that they needed a left fielder. Because they picked the wrong guy doesn't mean they didn't look at the right spot.
And what do they need this year? Both.
Because you see, this is what they did.
I
had no problem with them letting one of those back end relievers go. And if they said, "Hey, you want to go to Toronto? Go." But how the hell do you? Yeah, Estevez, you go and you make the deal for Estevez, and then you're like, nah. And he even signed for a very reasonable amount of money.
Right, that's different. I wanted one of those guys back. I wanted both of those guys back.
Oh, I didn't want both back.
But the Sir Anthony thing's different.
No, it's not.
All right, what do we got on the text line? Because I'm about to pop off.
All right. Sean checks in and says, I'm glad we passed on Ace Bailey. For a player his age to be acting the way he is, it's not good to a locker room for a team that's supposed to be competing for something bigger. I have to question his leadership and his lack of accountability, as well as his eagerness to play in a system where he's not considered the number one option.
Yeah, I mean, you're bringing in a guy who is going to be a part of the team. Ace Bailey was also not going to be a top option on this team. Now, are you thinking about the here and now, or are you thinking about down the road? And so maybe Ace Bailey, if you're thinking about 4 or 5 years from now, should have been the pick.
Yeah, it might work out that's the case, but I believe that Daryl Morey did a good job last night of bringing in an athlete that is part of the long-term plan. Long-term. And I like that.
Oh, he straight up said it, long-term.
Because we got the broken down guys at the top.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of the broken down guys, coming up next, we finally got an update on Joel Embiid.
Do you believe it, though, is the question.
Well, we'll see. Daryl Morey spoke on Joel Embiid. You'll hear that coming up next. It is Kincade and Salciunas. Oh, by the way, caller number 1. First caller, 610-632-0975. We'll get our second of our $50 Wendy's gift cards. I promise that this segment we do it. So second caller right now, first caller gets the second $50 Wendy gift card here on Kincade and Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Welcome to Philly, VJ Edgecomb. I'm Connor Thomas. The Sixers stayed at number 3 last night in the NBA draft, selecting 6'4" guard VJ Edgecomb out of Baylor. Edgecomb, his athleticism really stood out among draft prospects, and he talked on NBA TV about the type of player the Sixers are getting by picking him.
They're getting a unique athlete, man. I think I'm the best athlete in the class, if you ask me. I can jump as high as anybody in here, run as fast as anybody in here. I'm gonna play my heart out.
The confidence is there. The athleticism is there. The question is the fit there? With a backcourt that already has Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain, how does Edgecomb factor into the Sixers' rotation? We'll talk to you about that as the news develops. Sixers also hold the 5th pick in the second round. They'll make that selection tonight. Phils were shut out again last night in Houston. 2 straight scoreless games for the Titans offense. Zach Wheeler was great on the mound, but doesn't really do much for you if you don't score a run. The Phils will try and score a run and maybe even multiple today in the series ender versus Houston. 2 2:10 p.m. first pitch. Christopher Sanchez on the mound facing off against Hunter Brown. The NHL draft starts tomorrow night, so we'll keep our eye on the Flyers as well. This update's brought to you by Wendy's. Wendy's has $1 soft drinks, any size, all breakfast long. Coke, Sprite, Strawberry Fanta, whatever you want. Any size soft drink for $1. Gotta be Wendy's. Limited time only at participating Wendy's. Terms apply. I'm Connor Thomas, and you're listening to the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Wendy's gift card last segment. We got two more to go. I just ate my Wendy's sandwich during the break. It was delicious. Wendy's breakfast 2 for $3 biggie bundles lets you choose your perfect duo from your fave 4, including a sausage or egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, or medium hot coffee at participating U.S. Wendy's. I was thinking about something, John, during the break. I was talking to our man, Mike Vito.
Vito?
And we were talking about the draft pick last night, VJ Edgecomb at 3. So I was thinking about this. It's so easy for us to have said, oh, well, I wish they traded back and acquired a player from like the Pelicans, like a Herb Jones, right?
Right.
And you also draft whoever at 7, or if it was Brooklyn at 8 or whatever.
You're not getting, though, necessarily the player you want.
Right. But I was okay with, because I'm not in love with VJ Edgecomb or anybody from 3 on. I was not in love with anyone except for my Lithuanian brethren who got drafted 20th overall by the Heat. Watch out for him.
I love the one guy sounded. By the way, the one guy that got drafted last night in the first round, his name ended in Chunas.
Yeah, he's Lithuanian.
There you go.
Yeah.
So there it is.
And it's exactly.
I love that.
He went to the Heat. Pat Riley. I wasn't in love with anyone, and it made me think. If I wasn't in love with everybody, radio guy, and all the draft analysts said, "Hey, 3 through 8, it could go either way," right? Why would the team who was drafting 7th give up stuff to get up to 3?
That's when I mean,
like we have.
You don't know that people are that it's all gonna follow suit and fall the way you want it.
No, but I'm not even saying the way you want it in terms of who you get. I would have been okay with anyone from 3 through 8, as long as you were also acquiring a young player from the team you were making the trade with. So that yesterday you're coming away with 2 young players. That's
right.
That was what I wanted the Sixers to do. But if you were drafting 7th overall and you believe that picks 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are all about the same level of talent, why would you trade up to 3?
You probably wouldn't.
And so it's easy for us to say leading up to a draft or our first initial reaction. I see comments on YouTube. I see on Twitter. I wish they did this. I wish they did that. If we're all saying the same thing, the GMs are probably saying the same thing.
And I guarantee you that they looked into every. That's why there's like so much time before a draft. They look into every single scenario.
Yes.
One of the things that I know they do for Danny Briere and his team this week, one of the things that they've done this week is they've sat with all the scouts who do advanced scouting, the scouts who study the league and everything. They have done mock drafts of here. You're being the teams that are drafting ahead of the Flyers at 6. And they've done all these different mock scenarios of going, okay, if the board falls like this, what are we doing? If the board falls like this, what are we doing? And they already have game plans in place, like computer algorithms in place going, okay, we're following scenario 4 because these 3 picks went this way. This is the way so now we're following this method. Okay, we'll make a call because this guy dropped. These teams have studied every scenario.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've made these calls. They know who's out there, who's available, who might not be available, and so in.
And,
it works.
And maybe Daryl Morey did get calls, and maybe it wasn't the call that he wanted.
Well,
like, that's a possibility, too.
Yesterday I talked to D and to Kevin.
Yes.
There was one team that reportedly had talked to the Sixers about a deal, and that would have involved moving the Paul George contract.
I don't know if that was accurate.
It was the source was very good.
Okay.
That there at least one team had said, hey, let's kick tires on this. And the speculation, I'm talking to Kevin Cooney yesterday about it beforehand and going, well, what do you think? And he goes, well, that would sound like Utah. And then I'm going, oh, well, but a deal would have been, did the Sixers take back Markkanen?
Right.
So then you would have been having to take back.
Which is a nice player.
Well, an injured player, too, though, with his own injury history, whose big contract kicks in, too.
Welcome to the family.
So you would have just. So I think that if I believe now, and Kevin Cooney said to me right immediately, he goes, Utah. I said, Kevin, I'm trusting your judgment that you have a good handle. And he goes, oh, I think it's Utah. And now, then when I saw Utah pick Ace Bailey, I went, I think Kevin was right.
Maybe.
It was Utah. So Utah talked to him, but the Sixers weren't taking Markkanen's contract on.
Right.
I think that deal was potentially on the table. But they didn't want to take on another big contract.
They bring in a young player that they think fits with their team and what the culture that they're trying to set in place. You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, BZ Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Now, unfortunately, the success of this upcoming season, as we know, hinges on the health of Joel Embiid, right? That's what it comes down to every single year. Here was Daryl Morey yesterday. He was talking about the selection of Edgecomb, why they passed on Ace Bailey, all that kind of stuff. But it was the first time Daryl Morey had the chance to speak to members of the Sixers media. So somebody finally asked the question about Joel Embiid. Here was Daryl Morey talking about the big man.
Medical update time. Spoke to Joel today. He's very engaged, attacking rehab, doing everything he can to be out there. He had a meeting with Dr. Glashow this week. All things, to use the NASA term, nominal. Things are going well and expected, and we expect that to continue.
Ready for camp.
Yeah, I mean, things are on track to be ready right around there.
So we'll see. We'll see if he is ready by camp, and we'll see if he.
It sounds like it's very definitive there. It's June, very definitive. He's got multiple months now.
There was no ramp up comments.
Nope.
There was
3 months. No, wait, 3 months. If this story changes in 3 months, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be pissed. I swear, I'm going to be pissed.
Well, he said we're tracking. So he wasn't definitive he's going to be ready for camp. He said right now we're tracking, everything's not.
What I'm going to guess is he's on
3 months going.
What I'm going to guess is he's on some sort of program following the procedure that he got that is being led by this doctor that he mentioned, the doctor that worked on Kawhi Leonard and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to guess he didn't just get the surgery and went home. Like, I imagine they have some sort of workout program. Now, is he actually getting after it?
They say he's very engaged.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know if Tyrese is going to have a team meeting to get him engaged.
All right. There was one clip.
That's not been his MO.
There was one clip that I didn't have Connor grab. It's one of these. I hope he's telling the truth, Morey, right? He said the big three in Embiid, George, and Maxey all reached out to Morey that they wanted to meet VJ Edgecomb. They wanted to be a part of the meeting. But due to scheduling issues, only Maxey was the one that was able to go. I hope he's telling the truth that it was a legitimate scheduling issue, and that's why these guys. I mean, we just talked about it with Hurts in the White House, right? Like, maybe there was a legitimate scheduling issue that Joel Embiid and Paul George could not attend. I hope that is the truth, and him not just saying that, because I could totally see Maxey being like, "I'll put everything aside to go meet this kid," and not the other two dudes. Yes, no.
Yes, I thought the exact same thing.
That would still file under scheduling because one guy will move his schedule doesn't mean that the other guy should necessarily be expected to.
But I do like that he said the three were all engaged. So hopefully that's true, and that would be great for this team moving forward following that disastrous season that we just went through. All right, let's go to the phones. Let's go to Lewis and Pensauken. Wants to talk about the Sixers selecting Edgecomb. What's up, Lou?
Hold on. I love the draft. I love VJ Edgecomb. When we look at him, we have to put things in context. He started basketball late. So when we talk about his deficiencies, we have to really understand that he only started basketball. He was a soccer guy up until about 13, 14. And then he actually went from, I think his junior year, he went from not even being ranked to the next year being ranked in the top 5 in the country as far as, prospects. So his better days are only ahead of him. So I love the draft.
I love your insight there in that too, because you're going to have to. He's going to have to cook a little more, right? I mean, you're going to have to let him bake a little more.
But what you know what it is? It's the fact that as I've gotten older, when I look at we have to understand talent. I agree with Larry Brown. Talent will get you fired. Talent. Ben Simmons has Hall of Fame talent.
Yes.
But he doesn't have the desire. He doesn't have the mentality. He doesn't have the work ethic. And this is where I say, and this is why when that was an alarm, that was like a fire alarm when Ace Bailey didn't want to come in. I don't want immature guys that don't have focus, that are all about you want to go and be the rookie of the year, whatever. Fine, go somewhere else and do that. VJ Edgecomb, if you listen to his coach, I listened to his coach. His coach says he's a leader. We lack leadership. Paul George is not a leader. Joel Embiid is not a leader. This cat, they said that he went down to the Bohemian national team. He will call guys out, even if he's the youngest guy in the room.
Yeah.
So they look at the fact that this guy he's maniacal in his work ethic. He's going to get after you defensively, and the guy can jump out the gym.
Yeah.
He will reach, barring injury, this cat will reach his potential. I don't know about Ace Bailey reaching his potential because already, to me, he's starting off on the wrong foot.
And that's and Lewis, that's why. Thanks for the call, man. We appreciate it. That's why I said at the very beginning of the show, why would you add potential dysfunction, to an already dysfunctional organization? Like, I'm bringing in a kid that I fell in love with hearing him talk yesterday.
So did I.
I can see what Daryl Morey and company fell in love with when they had the meeting. Again, let's go back a few weeks. When the reports came out, I think it was Jake Fisher reported that they had the meeting with Edgecomb, and they flew out Maxey, they had the nice dinner, and they loved him. And remember, I said to you guys, that's weird that got out, and this whole Ace Bailey thing, like I thought he was the pick. They still hadn't scheduled anything. And the very next morning when we're on the air, reports, the Sixers are scheduling a meeting with Ace Bailey. And I was like, okay. So maybe that was a little weird that it came out that they love this guy so much. And then Bailey ends up canceling the interview and the meeting and the workout because he wanted to be promised something.
Well,
and they had no promises for him.
No promises.
And that's on Ace Bailey's camp,
By the way, the promise may have been cash.
Maybe.
To show up. Which is just
that's
terrible.
Horrible.
Which is horrible. That's bad. If that's true.
If that story's true.
If that story is true.
That's crazy.
That's horrible.
Yeah. All right. We'll check some more text messages coming up next. A lot of reacting being done with the selection of VJ Edgecomb. It seems like more people are warming up to it, maybe after we slept on it.
Well, I think the attitudes of a lot of the comments, a lot of the social media, and a lot of the discussion, I feel even better about it the more discussing that we do of it.
There's reasons behind everything. I don't think Daryl Morey just said, based off of his analytics, this is why we're drafting this kid. All right, coming up next, we'll get some more of your reaction. Also, it is today's headlines with Connor Thomas here on Kincade and Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic.
Ray Dunn, Mike Missanelli.
The Phillies are 34-2 when they had the
somewhat cooler Thursday morning.
Oh, it was cooler. The storm came through. Now, you did not
I didn't get a storm.
The weird thing is last week when the storms, you guys had storms over in Jersey.
Yeah.
And I had nothing at my house. You were talking about the rain at your house because basketball got called off or something.
Yeah.
And we had no rain. Last night, it was stormy. I mean, it was for around an hour and 10, but it cooled things off.
Yeah.
It got, but then after the storm, opened up the front door just to see what it was like outside, like a sauna.
Oh, yeah. I
mean,
bet.
the steam.
That humidity still.
There was still steam coming up off the road, up off the asphalt, so not fun.
Yeah, you could have recorded one of those videos where you fry the egg right on the
Oh, no, you could have
asphalt,
been doing that.
All right, before we get to headlines, give us one more text message, Connor, at 610-632-0975 as we have been reacting to the selection of VJ Edgecomb all morning today.
All right, Dan in Grad Hospital is being pretty positive on the pick this morning. He says this will be one of the worst draft picks in team history. Ace will be the better pro and consistent all-star in 3 to 4 years. VJ Edgecomb's ceiling is being a rich man's KJ McDaniels. Garbage pick.
All right, enough with KJ McDaniels. KJ McDaniels was a second-round pick. This guy got drafted third overall. If you were to ask me right now, who do I believe will be the better individual NBA player? My answer is Ace Bailey. Who do I believe is maybe got a better head on their shoulders based off of just hearing them speak and reports and not asking for cash to work out for teams if that report is true? It's VJ Edgecomb. What team has a lot of dysfunction? The Sixers. Maybe some sanity is good for this team. And oh, by the way, this guy fits a need that this team desperately needs, which is perimeter defense, which they don't have. Now, the scoring and the three-point shooting needs to be improved. I am not disagreeing with that. Ace Bailey could probably go out there and drop 20 for the Utah Jazz on a given night. The Utah Jazz will win 16 games this year and will be right back where they were last year. And we got to hope that
we have to hope that this is not a what do you call the when you put the oats and you put hot water in it.
Overnight oats.
And it makes the oatmeal. But when you get the little packets of oatmeal, and you put it in, and you add hot water to it, it makes it in 2 seconds. It's not instant Quaker Oats. Quaker Oats. It's not Quaker Oats. See, Martinez and I are gonna be fun on Friday night.
Yeah,
what is that?
That's not a brand special thing though. There's a lot of instant oats.
See, I don't eat it.
That's kind of how you make oatmeal regardless of brand.
No. Christina buys the one that has the guy who looks like he's got the big blue hat on.
There's not one brand of oatmeal.
I don't eat it, so how would I know? I just know the guy that has the big blue hat on.
I'm pro oatmeal.
And he's got the big wig.
Yeah, oatmeal underrated.
I like oatmeal.
I hate oatmeal.
All right, it's time now for today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Brought to us by who?
Our friends over at Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name Lundy Law. Your injury lawyers. Visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com. Maybe the guy from our first story in headlines could have given them a call because he was a little bit worried about this, or maybe he was just being a bad teammate. They say this is the time of year where the NFL news cycle does slow down, if there's any time. But Deontay Johnson didn't hear no bell. You guys see the news about him?
I saw this. Yeah.
So Deontay Johnson, when he was in Baltimore last year, did not go into a game, apparently, because it was too cold at 41 degrees. The quote from Johnson, I wasn't getting into no run plays, no passing plays, or nothing. It was cold. Ended the third, going into the fourth. They were like, Tay, we need you. I was like, nah, I don't think it's a good idea for me. Like, my legs are already ice cold, and I didn't want to go out there and put bad stuff on film.
So here's what I think he's trying to say, because I always try to look at the best out of people.
You are you're kind in that regard.
If what I'm thinking he's saying is I was not playing, and then all of a sudden they asked me to play in the third or fourth
like cold
quarter,
isn't warmed up,
and I have not, and it's cold outside, and I have not been playing, and now all of a sudden they're asking me to play. Still a horrible look to say no.
Yeah, bro, you're an NFL player. Get out there.
You can't say no, but that's what I'm thinking he was saying, even though it is still horrible and dumb. But I think that's what he meant. Like, I've been sitting here in the freezing cold for 3 quarters. Now all of a sudden you want me to go out there?
Are you serious, though?
I think that's what he meant. It's still bad. No, it's still stupid.
Yeah, it's
That's
dumb.
a clown answer, bro.
And
That's why it gets bounced around.
And
all
he's
over.
now in Cleveland.
Yeah,
where
so
it's-
nice and balmy there in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So shout out Deontay Johnson. Hopefully you get some warm weather there. A mistake by the lake. All right, so we had an interesting pick last night at number 16 overall.
Yes.
Yang Hansen was selected. Here's what Adam Silver's announcement sounded like.
Memphis Grizzlies select Yang Hansen from Zibo, China, and the Qingdao Eagles.
I'm pretty sure Ben Simmons hit a 3 against that team back in the day. But
No, that was the Guangzhou Lions.
No, trust me, I
was
remember.
there.
We all remember where we were at that moment. But Hansen's going to remember where he was at this moment because it was very special for a first-round draft pick. He was projected as a mid-second round pick. He wasn't at a special table. He was in the stands with the rest of the fans in New York watching the draft, and he had to come out of the stands to shake Adam Silver's hand.
I'm surprised, he got past security.
Well, he's
you know what I mean?
7 foot.
No, but I
whatever.
mean, I'm still surprised because of their usual. Come on, how many of these security guards have you seen that act like?
Like Johan Rojas couldn't go back on the Rockies.
Couldn't even get back in the field. I'm like, come on now.
Now the good thing for Yang Hansen is he was dressed well.
Yeah, he looked good.
If I'm sitting in the stands, I'm wearing sweats like I wear to work.
Well, that's why you're not a first-round pick.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what people are saying, like NBA people are saying, he's Chinese Jokic, is what people are saying. He's
a little
7
too much too early.
He's Chinese. That's a real.
He's 7 feet tall. He plays the game the way he plays like Jokic. Nobody's saying that he is Jokic, but he plays the way that Jokic does. So we'll see. But that's crazy to be a projected mid-second round pick to climb up to 16.
Hey.
You don't really see that in the NBA.
Somebody likes you.
Yeah, he'll take it.
All it takes is one guy to fall in love with you, right?
Yes, it does. We'll round
that
out.
GM loves you, and then you're in.
We'll round out with this on the Sixers selection.
There's so many things we'll get into about Edgecomb.
So many.
That seems like it's a really, really good choice. But again, are you trying to get the most talented players? It seems like you went and got another guy that you already have a lot of.
Now, the great point that we brought up earlier, we did talk about this, but audience constantly changing, the defense he brings.
Yes.
Tell me on the crazy scale. VJ Edgecomb starting over Jared McCain alongside Tyrese Maxey.
Not crazy at all.
I don't think because I don't believe if Daryl Morey could have it back, Connor, I think Daryl Morey would take back where he said that Edgecomb next to Maxey.
Because you think he revealed something there?
Yeah. I think he said something he didn't want to say.
But you know what? You need scoring punches off the bench. And so if I'm Jared McCain,
I'm thrilled that Jared McCain,
remember when years ago when Maxey was coming off the bench and people wanted him in the starting lineup, scoring punches off the bench is important.
Very important.
And so if McCain is being asked, hey, we don't really care about your defense, we just need you to drop 20 when you're coming off the bench.
I think Jared will be fine with it.
That's fine. And same with Quentin Grimes. Now you need to be able to play some defense, so you're going to have the right pieces on the court with those two guys if they're on the court at the same time. But I don't think it's a crazy thought that maybe VJ Edgecomb finds himself in the starting lineup because of his defensive help with Tyrese Maxey.
Connor, for you, on the crazy scale, that's not
very crazy.
That's nothing.
Get nuts.
So speaking of that Morey clip, by the way, we're going to play that one coming up next. In one 30-second cut from Daryl Morey, we may have gotten info on a potential free agent, some insight on how the team could look, and his own realization that he'd been wrong for far too long. All in 30 seconds.
That's amazing.
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Best athlete in the draft. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Sixers stayed put at 3 last night, selecting 6'4" guard VJ Edgecomb out of Baylor in the first round of the NBA draft. And Edgecomb's athletic. How athletic? Well, just listen to him describe the type of player that the Sixers are getting by selecting him.
They're getting a unique athlete, man. I think I'm the best athlete in the class, if you ask me. I can jump as high as anybody in here, run as fast as anybody in there. I'm gonna play my heart out.
Also sounds like a good kid and has a good head on his shoulders. That might have been part of the pre-draft selection process for the Sixers, with Ace Bailey also potentially on the table. The main question is the fit, though, with Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain already on the team. We'll keep you updated on that. The Sixers also hold the 5th pick in the second round, 35 overall. They'll make that selection tonight. The Phillies were shut out again last night in Houston. 2 straight shutouts out there against the Stros. Zach Wheeler was great on the mound, but don't matter if you don't score. Phils will try and get right in the series ender versus Houston today at 2:10 p.m. first pitch. Christopher Sanchez versus Hunter Brown, the matchup. The NHL draft gets going tomorrow night, so it's a quick turnaround to see what the Flyers are going to do to follow up the Sixers selection. This update is brought to you by Wendy's. They have $1 soft drinks, any size, all breakfast long. Coke, Sprite, Strawberry Fanta, whatever you want. Any size soft drink for $1, gotta be Wendy's. Limited time only at participating Wendy's. Terms apply. I'm Connor Thomas, and you're listening to the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. I just saw a comment on our YouTube feed from Stanley about the Phillies, even though we've been talking the majority about the Eagles. Yes, Stanley. I like Stanley.
Very formal.
Stanley Krapinski. Great name.
I know Krapinskis.
Then maybe you know Stanley.
I know John Krapinski.
So Stanley brings up the Phillies as, we've mixed in the Phillies because Dave Dombrowski spoke to Jason Stark. We reacted to a lot of the clips. Why do we have Turner at the leadoff? Because Stott is 29-8 when the team leads off. I don't know if I'm getting into the conversation late, but there was a lefty on the mound yesterday, correct?
Yes.
And Bryson Stott's hitting like 0.6?
That is correct.
0.06
Even though
against lefties.
He did get a hit.
He did get a hit yesterday.
He did get a hit. They're closing public schools today because of it, but it's summer.
So here's the thing, Stanley. I get it. There is the belief that you can mix and match the lineup. I like consistency. Like if Trey Turner's my leadoff hitter, I want him to be my leadoff hitter.
I want him my leadoff hitter every day.
Yeah. Like I don't need to do what they did with Schwarber at the beginning of the season, where some days Schwarber was leading off if it was a right-handed pitcher, and then some days it's Turner when there's a left-handed pitcher. I'd rather it be consistent. And by the way, Trey Turner's not been a problem. So I get what you're saying with the record and all that kind of stuff. But Bryson Stott, by the way, when he got moved to the leadoff spot was when everything went to crap for him.
Can I say, too, because in the element of fairness, if I will say butcher, as Connor says, Trey Turner has made 3 plays this week that made my jaw drop. He has made 3 different plays that I said, wow.
It's good.
Like, great defensive plays. So it could be, where I'm trying to bring it to is, maybe the offensive game being so great has got him into this,
comfort zone,
feeling that swagger. So there is something to that because his defense has been overall really, really impressive.
So he's the anti-Castellanos. Castellanos gets to very little but catches everything. Trey Turner gets to a lot, but not as consistent when he gets to it as you'd like.
That's fair.
That's just kind of what it is.
But he is playing better.
But
he's playing better.
He made the play he made last night, and he's made 2 plays in the first 2 games of the series that I went, wow.
Yeah, he also had one that he needed to keep in the infield last night.
I know. I get you.
By the way, Bryson Stott.
I'm not killing him for that one.
Yeah.
Bryson Stott since May 1st, to Stanley's point, which is when they started really batting him leadoff, around in the month of May. But since May 1st, he's hitting .206 with an on-base percentage of .268. I don't need a .268 on-base guy leading off a game and getting more at bats.
And
don't need that.
By the way, did I tell you that I remember we had a conversation like 3 weeks ago?
I converse with you every day.
Where the clock, we do. Yes, we do. The clock was ticking on certain people where I said, like, there's a line in the sand.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, look at what Alec Boehm's done and look at what Bryson Stott's done.
Yeah.
Bryson Stott has went south, and Alec Boehm has been one of your better hitters.
Yeah.
Even though there's last night, I think he had a terrible at bat.
Yeah. Well,
or 2.
But he's been one of your better hitters for a while
Exactly.
now.
And so, again, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that.
All right. Yesterday, Daryl Morey spoke to the media after the Sixers selected VJ Edgecomb with the 3rd overall pick. Take a listen to this 130-second clip that gives you a lot. Take a listen.
I really like, how things are shaping up. I think we'll have one of the best backcourts in the league, with Grimes and Maxey and Jared McCain and now VJ. So I do think, like, the way the NBA is going, I think you saw some of these teams playing dynamic, up-tempo with multiple guards that put the defense in jeopardy. And, we do have to have our main guy in the middle. I felt for the players and Coach Nurse, specifically last year, trying to put a defense on the floor with Joel out, and obviously Drummond was hurt, so we didn't. Bowen has stepped up late, which was exciting. But it's very hard to, if you have like a bunch of dynamic guards, it's hard to make it all work if you don't have a big in there who's making things hard on the other team.
So the last half, the Embiid, that's the obvious, right? Like, Joel Embiid makes this team go. Joel Embiid is a great rim protector. I know there's nonsense from people that say he can't play defense. He's a spectacular defensive player.
Ooh.
Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid.
He
can be a defensive force.
Yeah, he's great. It's just when he can't move is when it's bad. But a couple of things that he put out there. He mentioned Grimes, like Grimes is back. He's a restricted free agent. So if somebody offers more money, it almost looks like we're going to do whatever we can to keep him. We traded for him. We know that he's a restricted free agent. We're going to make it work. So he mentioned Grimes as a part of the plan. It's not, we hope that Grimes is back with us. He straight up mentions it. And then he brings up the defense. And he said, you just saw in these finals how the dynamic guards are creating problems and putting defenses in jeopardy. Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain and Quentin Grimes, their specialties are not defense. There's a reason why VJ Edgecomb was a part of their plans. And he says it right there.
He improved a great weakness of this team.
Yeah.
The more you hear about Daryl Morey has a plan. And Daryl Morey can explain his plans to us. And whether you agree with the tactic or not, that's a whole nother issue. But he can explain what he does a good job explaining what he was thinking and what he was doing. So I'm buying in. I'm going to buy in.
I like that. Well, here's another negative comment.
All right.
You don't take a damn role player at third overall just because he's not a diva.
He's not a role player.
A dude not working out for you doesn't suddenly make him a worse player. We bricked this pick so hard. Morey's parting gift before he gets fired after this.
He's not a role player. He is not a role player. He's not projected to be a role player in the NBA. He's projected to be a guy that is going to be a starting player. He might not be a starting player right now on this team this year, game one. But that's not what he's projected to be.
Like, Maxey didn't start his rookie year.
Right.
Part of that's Doc Rivers. Part of that's him being a rookie. This kid's 19, turning 20. So he might be a role player this year on this team.
Exactly.
But that's not how his whole career is going to play out.
And that's the thing with
he's more ready to play in the NBA. Could you say that he's more ready to play in the NBA right now than Maxey was?
Defensively, not offensively.
I think so.
I don't think his offensive game is translated.
No, defensively.
Defensively, yes.
Defensively, yeah.
He's a much better three shooter than Maxey was coming into the NBA.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you want somebody to hit a wide open three, I'd much rather have Edgecomb than Maxey rookie year. And look at what Maxey's become.
Yeah.
Through his work ethic and everything. And this kid's work ethic isn't questioned by anybody.
That's another thing that's been really big about VJ Edgecomb, the talking point, is his work ethic.
And Maxey is one of those guys who showed you draft a kid who has a supreme work ethic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you just drafted defensive Tyrese Maxey, how are we mad about that?
Right. Now, here's the thing. I know this is hard because we literally had the conversation the other day about whether or not people actually want to hear the fact that the Eastern Conference is wide open, right?
Okay.
Again, Daryl Morey was in a weird spot of the drafting for the here and now and also down the road. VJ Edgecomb, what he can do right away defensively helps this team right away. This team that, when healthy, if healthy, can be a good basketball team. I know that's exhausting to hear. You've heard a million times. I'm tired of saying it, right? Like, as much of a Sixers fan as I am, I'm tired of having to say the if healthy, when healthy, blah,
I'm tired
blah,
of
blah.
hearing it.
Right. It's exhausting. But if those things play out in a favorable way for the Sixers, you lucked out with the third overall pick. And you had maybe a luxury to draft a guy that his specific skill set right now can help this team win something. I'm not saying championship. I'm just saying, like, actually do make noise for once in the playoffs and not just get eliminated in the second round. And if that means 18 to 20 minutes out of him in his rookie season, and you're just hoping that he grows over the years, like, you're not asking him to do all that much. You're asking him to be a good complementary guard to Tyrese Maxey or whoever he's out on the court with. It's a pretty good spot for a rookie to be in.
Just interesting, something from the Salt Lake Tribune.
Okay.
Ears on the ground at the draft say that the Jazz were kicking the tires about moving up in the draft to go and get Ace Bailey. So it had to be the Sixers that they were talking to.
I guess so.
Or 4. It had to be 2, 3, or 4. So then that would make sense that ears on the ground say that the Jazz did make inquisitions about moving up in the draft in order to be able to grab Ace Bailey.
So then it had to be the Sixers because Charlotte was going Concanipple, no doubt.
No, unless
Edgecomb was available, and they were going.
Yeah,
and they were
but
going
Edgecomb. They weren't going Bailey.
Right, they weren't going Bailey.
Well, so how it would have worked was the Sixers would have drafted Bailey with the intention of trading him to Utah,
but they would have had to take Markkanen contract.
Well, and if they drafted Bailey at 3 to trade him to Utah, all the reports were if Edgecomb was on the board, the Hornets were taking Edgecomb.
Right.
Yeah,
So
and then you get Konkinen.
The Sixers didn't want that.
Correct.
Daryl Morey didn't want that.
I actually like
whether
it.
a Sixers fan agrees with that, that's your opinion. That's what you analyze when it came to the NBA draft. But
there you go.
That's all the story that's coming out. If Edgecomb was still on the board, the Hornets would have taken him. And maybe that's why. Maybe the Sixers denied the trade, for all we know. All right, coming up next as we continue to talk about the Sixers. Earlier in the show, I asked you guys why a team would add to the dysfunction of this team. So Daryl Morey, in back-to-back clips, talked about one, Ace Bailey, and then VJ Edgecomb. I believe he gave his real answer in the second one. You'll hear it coming up next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Ricky Bo, Bill Colarulo.
Look, you... Text messages here. You know what? Let me take a call here because I see somebody that is disgusted with the pick of VJ Edgecomb. And then after we talk to this next caller, we'll get to a couple more clips from Daryl Morey because he was asked about Ace Bailey in the press conference yesterday, and he spoke about Ace Bailey, and then he was asked about VJ Edgecomb, and I think in his answer about VJ Edgecomb, he gave his real answer about Ace Bailey. Just a guess, and I'm curious if you guys got the same thing when we play it. But let's go to Phil in the Northeast. What's up, Phil?
No, man, this is ridiculous. This is disgusting. Disgusting. I had to sit there and watch. I had to watch Jeff Doughton and Alex Reese for 2 months, right, for us to secure a top six pick. We get it. We get third. There were 3 prospects that were touted as the top 3 prospects for 8 months. There was one guy who was touted as the top 3 prospect for a week. We picked the guy who was top 3 for a week, and now we're trying to talk ourselves into it.
Well, hold on a second.
He wasn't projected as top 3.
First off, Edgecomb for a lot of people was 4th or 5th.
He was 4th or 5th.
So it's not like he went from 15th to 3rd.
So he was never top 3. It was always Ace Bailey was 3.
Right, but I mean, since last week, he was projected to go top 3.
Yeah, but he wasn't. Yeah, but he wasn't projected as a top 3 talent.
Right, and that's my point. We picked the guy who wasn't supposed to be a top 3 talent at 3, and now we're trying to convince ourselves that it was the right move.
No, that's not what we're doing. It's not what we're doing. It's not what. No, it's not at all.
All right. What have you heard? So I've said this a couple of times, Phil. If you're asking me who has the better individual basketball career, I've said Ace Bailey for 2 hours and 43 minutes.
And I
today.
don't agree with you, by the way.
Okay. But from what this Sixers team wanted and needs right now and they hope can translate down the road, VJ Edgecomb fits more of that. Now, if you thought that the Sixers should have blown it up and started all over again, we can have that conversation. That's a conversation for another day. But they believe that VJ Edgecomb was the better fit with the team that they have right now.
Right. So now I have to explain to the kids in 2029 that we passed on Ace Bailey because Edgecomb was better for our 2025 squad.
That's not
no, but they are projecting that Edgecomb can become more of an all-around basketball player. Ace Bailey's a scorer, and look, when he goes to Utah, he might average 20 a game because he's going to be the guy out there. Good for him.
I'm not saying he's a scrub. He's just not. It's a reach. He's top 4, not top 3. We were at 3, and we picked top 4.
Okay, so you reached one spot.
That's the issue.
You reached one spot.
And didn't pick up anything in the process. Like there's a top 3 guys there.
And again. I wanted them originally to trade back. But what we have all been saying is that there is a clear number 1 pick, a clear number 2 pick. Yeah, a lot of people projected Ace Bailey to be 3, but every NBA analyst, and thanks for the call, Phil, I appreciate it. Every NBA analyst said 3 through 8 is a crapshoot. So as much as I wanted them to trade back with like a Pelicans to pick up a player and then whoever they would draft with that pick, so they would come away with 2 young players. If everybody was saying 3 through 8 is about the same level of talent, why would a team trade up? Why would a team give up a young player to acquire a player that could be the same level of talent as the guy that you're trading up for? And so I get it. Ace Bailey was a guy that a lot of people were intrigued by. I was intrigued by him. Length, size, scoring ability, wings, which is something that the Sixers have struggled with forever. But they did not like the million red flags that popped up clearly steered the Sixers in a different direction. So off of that, Daryl Morey yesterday, perfect timing, Phil. Thank you for the call. Daryl Morey was asked about Ace Bailey and not selecting Ace Bailey. Take a listen to his answer.
It was pretty opaque. I mean, I spoke to the agents, so did Elton, so did Prosper, so did a lot of the key folks on our staff. You know, he didn't work out with anybody, so that was just their plan. So it was just their general plan. And I don't try to judge. They were doing what they thought was best for them. We were doing what's best for us, and it had no impact on the decision.
So it didn't have any impact on their decision.
I don't believe him.
And so that's why
he's being I think Daryl Morey there is being a class act.
And that's why in this next clip, when he's talking about VJ Edgecomb, I wonder, is his real answer inside these words? Take a listen.
Above and beyond what you can see on the floor, the thing we spend a lot of time on, and I will say it's very hard to forecast with 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds. We don't think we have some crystal ball, but where we can get more confidence that a player has two things, which is they understand that they're not where they need to be. They understand they're not yet, pick your all-star guard in the league. And then they have the work ethic to close that gap. If a player has that's very interesting to us generally. And yes, we've been fortunate that you can get a guy with talent already playing at a high level at Baylor, and then also has not only a hopeful work ethic, but when you can see, if you track back to the Bahamas and you track back through his pre-Baylor period all the way through, I think we're excited about that.
So a couple of things in that clip. We like guys that don't believe they're stars right away. Ace Bailey wants a quick path to stardom.
And he articulated it.
Yes. He talks about
Cooper Flagg, who is a generational talent, didn't say any of this crap.
Didn't say any of it.
None of it.
He talks about how, remember, in the previous clip, the not working out, that was their decision. It didn't impact our decision. Then in the very next clip, he talks about work ethic and how important that is to us. And then he said guys that play at a high level, Baylor. Maybe the school did play a bit of a factor in this one. Everything that he said in that second clip that we just played you was for VJ Edgecomb, but I also believe it kind of told you the real reason why they didn't go after Ace Bailey. There's like 4 different things in there.
There's a bunch of difference. It's not one thing. I think Daryl Morey, though, is a class act there. He's not going to do anything to...
Of course not.
He doesn't want to attack the young man either. He realizes he's 18 years old. He got bad representation.
Yeah. And look...
If this was a court case, he'd be appealing the draft right now saying, I got bad representation.
Yeah.
My attorney sucked. Because, boy, did he get bad representation.
And how many times, like in football, have we seen, maybe that guy was the more higher prospect, but this guy's the better fit for that team? Like, we see it all the time.
Right?
Culture's a big part of it, and maybe that... You literally heard him say, we like drafting guys that don't believe they're all-stars right away, but they want to get there.
Yes.
Ace Bailey's literally saying, I want a quick path to stardom.
There it is. He's skipping steps. And the thing is, Cooper Flagg. You want a Cooper Flagg one for you? Real quick. Cooper Flagg. I want to fit on this team where they see me fit. I want to contribute. If I'm the third best guy, the fourth best guy, whatever they need, I'm here to grow, to learn, and to learn how to be an eventual champion.
A little bit different.
That's how the guy who's a generational talent affects it. Because you know what? He's mature, and he had proper representation.
All right, coming up next, more Sixers talk, but also some more Phillies as we continue to mix that in. A feeling that I felt in spring training, Dave Dombrowski can confirm that for me, Johnny. This is the end. By the way, Kevin Agani's going to be joining us at 9:25 today. He needed a little bit extra beauty sleep today. I don't blame him. Late night last night for him. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Sixers make the pick. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by Rheem, your local Rheem Pro partners at thereamteam.com. When you want your home to feel like a dream, it has to be Rheem. Stay cool with a high-efficiency AC system from Rheem, R-H-E-E-M. Find your Rheem Pro partner at thereamteam.com. The Sixers stayed put at number 3 last night, selecting 6'4" guard VJ Edgecomb out of Baylor. Edgecomb, whose athleticism stood out among draft prospects. Well, there's a question about fit, but there's no question about his athletic ability, especially according to him.
They're getting a unique athlete, man. I think I'm the best athlete in the class, if you ask me. I can jump as high as anybody in here, run as fast as anybody in there. I'm gonna play my heart out.
So we'll see about that fit with guys like Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain already in the backcourt, but Edgecomb, promising prospect. There's a reason he went 3 overall. Sixers also hold the 5th pick in the second round, number 35 overall. They'll make that selection tonight. Phils were shut out again last night in Houston. They lost 2-0. Zach Wheeler was pretty darn good on the mound, but the offense just hasn't been able to score out there in the Lone Star State. They play again at 2:10 p.m. in the series ender. Christopher Sanchez on the mound against Hunter Brown. The NHL draft starts tomorrow night, so we'll keep you updated on what the Flyers could do. Kevin Nagandi joins us coming up at 9:25. This update's also brought to you by Wendy's. They have $1 soft drinks, any size, all breakfast long. Coke, Sprite, strawberry Fanta, whatever you want. Any size soft drink for $1, gotta be Wendy's. Limited time only at participating Wendy's. Terms apply. I'm Connor Thomas, and you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
101.5 The Fanatic. Connor, give us a number.
3.
Caller number 3 to the regular line, 610-632-0975. 11 years of saying contest line. I got to get over that. Caller number 3 gets our third of our 4 $50 Wendy's gift cards. Wendy's breakfast, 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles lets you choose your perfect duo from your fave 4, including a sausage or egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, or medium hot coffee at participating U.S. Wendy's. So, Johnny, the luxury of having the YouTube chat open and going is the immediate live interaction, right?
Okay.
Or reaction. Like, I don't have the text line from you. That's Connor, right? You and I can see the call screener when we have callers on hold. I see the YouTube, and it's the immediate, responses. So it's almost like a presidential election right now. We're getting the swing votes, or we're getting the mail-in ballots are happening, because the majority of
the mail-in ballots is where you really
they come in late, right? So
they come in late, boxes of them.
The first 2+ hours has been mainly positive with the VJ Edgecomb selection. Some confusion or disappointment.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
But for the most part, it was mainly confident. Now all of a sudden, the mail-in ballots are coming in where they're not happy with the pick.
That's what usually happens.
So I have to address a couple of these.
Okay.
I'm
what are you not happy with the outcome of the election?
No.
Because that's when the mail-in ballots sometimes change things.
Ed Wright checks in. Should have dropped back and get some more assets in a draft like that.
You can't say that.
Again, if
you can't say that.
If teams weren't willing to trade up, maybe you drop back to 10.
You just can't.
Well, what are you
can't
getting?
Do that. And you can't.
There's one problem. Now, Money Mar chimes in. Unless you're coming off of an NBA championship, drafting for need at 3 is reprehensible. Take the damn best player available. Well, I know people don't want to hear it, but again, this team, if healthy, could be good, and you bring in a guy that fits with this team. Ace Bailey, because Ace Bailey, what everybody's saying, it was the best player that was available, right? That's what everybody likes to say.
I think it is true.
How much run was Ace Bailey going to really get with this team? On the court, he'd be on the court, but between Embiid and Maxey and Grimes and Paul George and Jared McCain,
yes,
he's not taking 20 shots a game, where Ace Bailey will be most effective. Because, again, I think individually Ace Bailey will be a better basketball player than VJ Edgecomb.
By the way, I'm that's the one thing today that surprised me. I don't know. I'm not.
He's also a sneaky good defensive player. He's not as good as VJ Edgecomb, but he's a sneaky good defensive player, and he can score more. He's a better all around offensive game.
Okay, here's one thing from his scouting report from one of the scouting services that I'm reading here is that when focused, his defensive game can be next level, but it has lapses.
Yeah,
and his energy level on the defensive end of the court is questioned from half to half. That's a troublesome. That's a troublesome thing to.
It is, but I believe when it comes to his offensive game, he needs to take the 20 shots. He's not going to get that here. All right, so there's another thing that I'll push back on. Now, the one that I will push back on the most, and I'm trying to find it exactly where it's at. Somebody said, and I apologize because there's a lot of discourse, which I love. I love that this YouTube chat is buzzing right now. Somebody said something to the extent of, you need killers in the NBA. And then they started mentioning Kobe and Michael Jordan, all that kind of stuff. We should pause before we call Ace Bailey anything like those guys. But here is where I will push back on this killer mentality. And this goes back to that confidence thing that I said to you guys earlier. I saw people on social media saying the Sixers got scared off by a guy that was confident within himself, believing that he can become a star. A killer, to me, does not want to go to bad situations. He did not want to come here. He wanted to go to either the Wizards, which, is that a winning organization?
No.
He wanted to go
to a terrible organization.
He wanted to go to the Hornets?
Not a better organization than the Sixers.
Is that a winning organization?
No. Not a better organization than the Sixers.
So these teams that he wanted to go to as this killer, why would you want to be I want to be the best player on a bad team?
He did
That's not killer. That's not killer to me.
His desire was not to go anywhere better than an organization better than the Sixers. So that whole discussion of him being this killer, him being this guy that he wanted to, no, none of it mattered. None of it made any sense.
And again,
that falls apart when all you have to do is just look right at it.
And I'm not telling you that I love VJ Edgecomb. Like, that's the thing. Like, I think because we're talking about the pick in the way that we are, people are going to think that I'm saying VJ. I'm not. The people that are calling him Dwayne Wade, I'm not there. Like, what? Slow down there.
None of us are.
But there are NBA people calling him, all right, they see a young D Wade. Like, that's.
My ears perked up when I heard it.
If that's true, that would be wonderful.
By the way, if you, the guy throws around compliments like manhole covers. When you hear a NBA draft night broadcast and you're hearing him described in those type of terms, you got to be. There were some big names last night tossing him some real big. Like, he belonged to be a top 4, top 5 pick.
Yeah.
That's saying something.
Yeah, sure is. All right, you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN, HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. All right, so give us a message, Connor, and then also we will get to some more Phillies audio because there was a lot from yesterday.
All right, so we have another check-in on the pick. Johnny from East Greenville says, the way I look at the Sixers pick last night is we very well could have not had a pick at all. Instead, we added a young player with good potential at minimum cost. That's a win.
Yeah,
I sort of like that attitude.
But then there are people that would say, to that point, you lucked out. You could have got a scorer in Ace Bailey. And that's where I think a lot of people are also coming from. And that's something that you were saying leading up to the draft.
I said it this morning.
When are you going to get that third pick again?
Because are you going to draft third again? Hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully not.
But then again, Dallas should have been picking, 12 or 14?
Yeah, and they got
they got number 1.
I think it was 11, but still, yeah.
No, they won the coin flip. I think, how many teams are in the lottery? 12? They won the coin flip to get into the lottery.
I thought they were,
and then got to number 1. However many numbers,
whatever it is. But I mean, they were lucky to get in, and then they won it because it was fixed. And you heard the fans chanting last night. They absolutely fixed that lottery.
Yeah,
there's no question.
By the way, 14 teams are in the lottery, so they won. So they won the coin flip
to get into the lottery, and then it was fixed for them.
Unbelievable.
How did they the two-headed coin?
Yeah, it's amazing. All right.
Great.
So yesterday, Mike Missanelli had Jason Stark on, and he's going to be joining them weekly. But one of the reasons why he was on yesterday was because of the Starkville podcast, where Jason Stark and Doug Glanville had Phillies president of baseball operations Dave Dombrowski on. If you remember, I came back from Clearwater, and I said to you guys, I think this is it. Here was Dave Dombrowski talking about maybe the end of this core.
Window is closing. Well, I agree, and yet I disagree with that quite strongly, because maybe it's closing with all these exact players because we have some free agents at the end of the year, and your chances of maybe re-signing all of them is not going to be good. But you never know what happens. But also, we still have a good core of young players that are with our organization. We still have good starting pitching, and that's going to be with us for years. And we're also starting to get an influx of talent from our minor league system. So we didn't talk about Otto Kemp before. Well, we like Otto Kemp. We think Otto Kemp's going to be a player that can help us for years to come. We've got Justin Crawford, who's doing great at AAA and wouldn't be hesitant if the need came up to bring him up to the major league level. We've got a 21-year-old shortstop at the AA level that can play other positions too, Aiden Miller, who has a chance to be a star player. So those players aren't very far away. And I've always felt that the best clubs are the clubs that have a combination of veteran players and the young players, if they're good enough, that bring that enthusiasm, that hop in the step.
We wouldn't be hesitant to bring up Justin Crawford. Stop! Stop lying to us! Like, stop, Dave! I have so much respect for this man's accomplishments, his resume and everything, but stop with the BS! You're in Philadelphia. You've been in some great baseball towns. I'm shocked that you think this BS flies. We wouldn't hesitate? You've hesitated all year long, and you have the worst center field in baseball. and you're keeping Justin Crawford down, a guy who has continually showed he's ready for at least a peek, a sneak peek. I can't stand it anymore. And the Otto Kemp, would you stop it?
So
he's a 25-year-old.
I like Otto, I like Otto Kemp and all.
My God.
So Otto Kemp, this is now twice we've heard love from Dave Dombrowski about
25-year-old Otto Kemp,
who
doesn't even have a position.
Who fans were begging to be called up because he's hitting home runs in AAA, and I was fine with it. I wanted to give them the shot. So he's had 55 at-bats. Oh, my gosh. He's got 14 hits. He's batting .255. 11 of those hits are singles. The other 3 are doubles. I've seen him come close to, 2 home runs.
He's come close. Warning track power. Seriously.
Are we really projecting Otto Kemp to being, a big part of this team?
No. He's going to be I think he's going to be a big part of this for a long time to come. Yes. So Dave Dombrowski's selling you that. Are you kidding me? You kidding me?
He's only up because they were desperate. And then Harper gets hurt, and you can play him all over the place.
He's 25, too.
I'm not trying to bash Otto Kemp.
No, I'm not at all. But still, he's 25. He's not some young, up-and-coming top prospect.
No.
Oh, my gosh.
He's a cool story. That's what he is. He's a cool story.
It's great.
He's just not a...
Is he a Major League Baseball power hitter?
No.
No. Oh, my gosh.
55 at-bats.
Do you think he's going to be a Major League Baseball power hitter?
I don't know yet.
Do you think he's going to be a Major League Baseball power hitter?
I don't know yet.
It's 55 at-bats. Do you think?
He was crushing the ball in AAA. He's at 55 at-bats at this level.
I don't know.
This is easy. Is it a yes or no? Do you
Derek
think?
Hall crushes the ball in AAA.
No, it's not a yes or no. It's a too early to tell. I'm not going to bet on the kid, but I'm also not going to say
then
he's
your
not.
answer's a no.
Yeah.
No,
That's a yes or a no.
My answer is
Do you think?
55 at-bats.
No.
You can project, Connor.
You can project.
You're a smart guy.
People do it all the time.
Do you project him to being a big bat in this lineup?
It's like this year, no.
For the organization.
I don't know enough about Otto Kemp, so I can't say.
It's the mustache.
Oh
He's
gosh.
standing by his fellow mustachio.
I don't have a mustache right now.
You certainly
It's not
do.
the mustache. I'm just saying 55 at-bats is not enough for us to be this mad about Dave Dombrowski saying he could be something.
Dude, he's 25 years old. He's 25. If he was 20 years old, I got you. He's
You're right.
25.
He's going to retire.
He's not some
I'm
young
saying he's going to retire. What the hell are you talking about? Weston Wilson was 30. There's these stories of guys coming up when they're in their mid-20s. There's a reason why they play in the minors for so long, dude.
I understand.
Oh, my gosh.
I do not project him to be a big bat in this lineup. They love Otto Kemp so much that he's batting 8th.
I can't get. I can't. Can't do this.
Coming up next, VJ Edgecomb. He spoke yesterday to members of the Sixers media after being drafted. You're going to love, I'm telling you, you're going to fall in love with this kid. I hope as a person at least. Let's start there. And then don't forget, Kevin Agani joins us at 9:25 today. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We want to hear from you. So text us at 6. It is 9:12 here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. You got the draft party on Friday.
Can't look.
Somebody was just asking me about the draft party. I have to try to find this information because it looks like maybe the tickets are all
sold out.
Oh, okay.
But we have one last pair to give away.
Yes, we do. So
that's the last pair because it is a completely sold out event.
So Sam Lees on Twitter. Hopefully you can win this last pair that we have. So at some point before we get out of here today, we will tell you how you can win the pair of tickets and free parking for the Flyers draft party that is now officially sold out, which is amazing. That's really cool. It's this Friday from 6 to 10 at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. Live broadcast with you, John Kincade. There will be Tim Saunders, Jim Jackson, Jason Martinez, plus multiple other guests from the Flyers like Governor Dan Hilferty, head coach Rick Tocchet, Mark Recchi, Todd Fedoruk, and more. Each
Danny
winner
Briere will join us from California.
Oh, that's really cool.
We'll get him hooked up from Cali.
That's great.
I believe some players will also join us.
I love that. So make sure you're listening to the broadcast, and if you're there, have fun. That's going to be a party at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Atlantic
Might
City.
play blackjack with a few people beforehand.
And after.
Or after.
Or both.
That sounds good.
I imagine that you could potentially do both.
Sounds good to me. Sounds fine to me.
All right. VJ Edgecomb, a couple more clips that I want to play for you. It's been a fun show, just hearing him talk and hearing the people that actually analyze the draft and not just you, me, and our listeners talking about who Edgecomb is. Let's hear from Edgecomb himself. Some things that you're going to I like hearing this kind of stuff, right? Here he is talking about his defensive mentality.
My mentality is not let nobody score. I hate to see other people score, man. That's just me. I just hate to see other people score, and I'm focused on that's my thing. I just do not like to see other people score.
So I love that he's coming into the NBA draft, and his mind is on defense.
Yes,
I like that.
Well, I know,
especially when you need it on this team.
Well, it's also where he stood out at the top of the draft. That was his sort of defining attribute at the top of the draft. That hustle, that energy. He's a difference maker on the defensive end of the court. So that's great.
And then
Love hearing it.
He talked about his love for defense and how he loves to win and hates to lose. Take a listen to Edgecomb.
I just love playing defense because I know that I can play on the floor if I'm not scoring. Scoring is not just the only aspect of the game. And I'm so balling on just being a versatile player, being an all-around player that why not be an elite defender or try your hardest to be an elite defender. And man, that just comes with grit. Just grit. And I just don't like seeing other people score. Like I said, I just hate seeing the opponents score because if they score more than us, they win. I hate to lose. And I just love to win.
So I'm confused. Our man 215 Jay Philly on the YouTube chat when I said I love what VJ Edgecomb has to say. Of course you do, Chunas. What does that mean?
Because I think whether it's fair, in some points it's slightly
because I'm a
fair.
Sixers honk.
You're not a Sixers honk, but you are I think you're an Embiid honk sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think that gets translated by people to being a Sixers honk. You are not a Sixers honk. You are extremely, I think you look at Sixers issues, and I think you are very objective.
My analysis with VJ Edgecomb is that he is not going to be the better overall player than Ace Bailey. Like I've been saying.
Right, and the weird thing is that I contest you on that.
Right, you do.
I don't believe you can make that statement. I really don't. I think that's a bold statement.
Well, if I can say that Otto Kemp's not going to be a power hitter in the major leagues, I can say that about two draft picks too.
I'm going to tell you, but Otto Kemp.
My thing is with Edgecomb. Like I did not like everything that was coming down with Ace Bailey over the last couple of weeks. I mean, I said last week that I was out. Last week, so it's not like they drafted Edgecomb and I go, "Oh, Sixers drafted Edgecomb." Then I like it. I was falling out of love with Ace Bailey. I was not in love with anybody.
Were you ever in love with Ace Bailey, though?
No.
I was not either. So.
No, I was not in love with anybody. I'm not in love with VJ Edgecomb. I love the person. Like, based off of everything, I like the person. I would like to meet VJ Edgecomb. I'll see how his game translates to the NBA level.
Absolutely.
Ace Bailey's game will translate with the Utah Jazz, where he's going to take 25 shots a game. That's awesome. For him, that might be great. Is that good for this Sixers team? I don't think that's necessarily true. Would he get his on this team? No, I don't believe that to be the case. And is he some lock? No. That's the other thing. Like, we're acting like Dylan Harper's a lock. Like the only guy that I go, yeah, that guy's gonna be good is Cooper Flagg. Like that guy's gonna be an NBA. That guy's gonna be a really good NBA player.
Utah Jazz beat writer says that he appeared disconsolate after he did his camera stuff. I thought on camera he appeared disconsolate. Ace Bailey. That he appeared disconsolate.
Because he didn't want to go to Utah.
And people were taking him aside and trying to talk him up.
Yeah, because Utah said, we don't care what you want.
And
we're going to select you.
And there are people around the Jazz that are like a little going, is this a good thing that we drafted a guy that we're going to have to talk up to feel good about coming to Utah? I think it's a bad message you're sending to the fan base, dude.
Yeah, and look,
you're starting out your career on the wrong foot.
There's some people that compliment that the Jazz don't care and took him. Right?
I do.
There are people that said the Sixers should just not care and just take them. But I keep on saying, why bring more dysfunction to an already dysfunctional organization? All right, coming up next, Kevin Nagandi, the host of the NBA draft coverage yesterday, did a tremendous job. He'll join us coming up next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Sixers select Edgecomb. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by Dairy Queen. Fly into DQ today for a cosmic collision of flavors in their new Superman cake batter cookie dough blizzard treat for a limited time. And don't miss Superman, only in theaters July 11th. DQ, happy tastes good. The Sixers stayed put at number 3 last night, selecting 6'4" guard out of Baylor, BJ Edgecomb. Edgecomb's athleticism really stood out in the pre-draft process and in his collegiate career at Baylor. And he talked about the confidence he has in that part of his game.
They're getting a unique athlete, man. I don't think I'm the best athlete in the class, if you ask me. I can jump as high as anybody in here, run as fast as anybody in here. I'm gonna play my heart out.
The main question with Edgecomb, though, is how does he fit in with a backcourt that already has Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain and could bring back Quentin Grimes? We'll see how that develops as the Sixers get closer to the season. They also hold the 5th pick in the second round to make that selection tonight. Phils were shut out again last night in Houston. 2 straight games of not scoring. Zach Wheeler was really good on the mound, but no matter if you don't score. Phils will try and get right in the series ender versus Houston today at 2:10 p.m. Christopher Sanchez versus Hunter Brown, the pitching matchup. And the NHL draft starts tomorrow night, so we'll keep an eye on what the Flyers do at 6 overall. This update is also brought to you by Wendy's. Wendy's has $1 soft drinks, any size, all breakfast long. Coke, Sprite, strawberry Fanta, whatever you want. Any size soft drink for $1, gotta be Wendy's. Limited time only at participating Wendy's. Terms apply. I'm Connor Thomas, and you're listening to the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Live here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. And joining us here on the Comcast Business Hotline, where every day of business is a big day, let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. He looked dapper.
He did look sharp, didn't he?
I got to find out if it was a cream-colored suit or a white suit. But he did a tremendous job covering the NBA draft with all the picks with Stephen A. Smith and Bob Myers. Just tremendous. Our man Kevin Nagandi joins us. Kevin, was it cream or white? I couldn't really tell.
It was more, first off, good morning, fellas. It was more of like a sand, described as a sand. So it's a cream that has brown tones in it.
Really?
So I'm not far off.
Come a long way from Phoenixville, my man. You've come a
very long way from Phoenixville.
You look sharp.
You look great.
Now I got to ask. Day one of the NBA draft, you go with the sand suit. Day two, you go in sweats or
no?
like
he's going blue tonight.
Day two, I'm going to Bristol, Connecticut to host Sports Center.
Okay.
Are you really?
Okay.
Yeah, because honestly, our first round coverage is on ABC. They expanded it, obviously, yet last year for 2 days event for the second round, but that's going to be on ESPN with Malika Andrews. I'm hosting Sports Center leading into the second round tonight. So,
you did a great job yesterday, Kevin. I just wanted to applaud you for it.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It is very challenging to manage and go through the whole thing, and at the same time, when trades happen, the unique part of the NBA is, the kids, the young men wear the team caps that actually drafted them, not the trades, because the trades don't go official till July 6th when the new year. So that you're kind of you're trying to figure out, all right, who went where, and it's a lot. But
and also the timing of it. Like it says the pick is in, but you're still waiting 6 minutes, so you're trying to keep the conversation going. You're trying to figure out, do we talk about the player that was just selected, or do we talk about the team that is about to pick? So I know that job's got to be pretty difficult, but you did a great job with it yesterday. So let's talk about the Sixers selection. Our discourse with our audience today has been fascinating. The first 2.5 hours of the show was very positive, and now recently we're starting to get the wave of people that were upset that they did not select Ace Bailey. But let's start with Edgecomb, the player, first. I know you were very high on him, so let's talk about that.
Yeah, very much so. I told you guys last week that I felt like they were going to go VJ Edgecomb, and he just does a lot of things. And at 6'5", a guy that understands his role, especially on a team that has established stars, he's not there to just say, all right, what's my usage rate, and I need shots. I need a volume of shots. It's how do I fit in? I play defense. I'm a slasher. I can run the floor with Tyrese Maxey. Energy guy. Listen, one of the things that I felt that Tyrese Maxey was so successful as a Sixer to start is he just said, I'll do anything and everything. I'm going to bring energy. I can identify how do I get on the court. VJ's the same. He's cut from the same mold. There's no, hey, I need it. I need a certain amount of shots. You guys know how good I am. I'm going to outwork everybody. And I think for a Sixers team that kind of needs that right now, they need positive energy. They need to bounce off. And I think they can run the floor. And a guy that can jump out of a gym. I mean, every comp I've seen is Oladipo or a young Dwayne Wade. I mean, he played with the Bahamian team, and he was the best player in that Olympic qualifier team that featured Buddy Hield and a handful of other guys who just said, hey, we're going to defer to this kid who was an 18, 19-year-old trying to figure his way out. That says a heck of a lot, man. So I like the pick. You had to be smart and safe with the pick at 3, considering the drop-off after 1 and 2, where you're finding the right fit, and I thought that they nailed it.
When you saw Ace Bailey go at 5 to Utah, he looked less than enthused, and there was a lot of discussion about that. Did you expect that he was being picked to be dealt when you saw that he was picked there, or did you think he was staying there?
He was staying in Utah.
Yeah. Did you think when you saw the pick made? Did you think Danny Ainge? Did you think Danny Ainge was up to something, like grabbing him to then make a deal with maybe someone behind him, maybe Washington or maybe Brooklyn?
Danny Ainge is always up to something.
Well, we know that. Yes.
And let me tell you, he's good at his job. What I think Danny saw was value at that pick. whether they keep him or not, they could still find the best value at number 5. Because Ace Bailey, listen, is extremely talented. I think he's an 18-year-old young man, and he thinks very highly of himself, super confident. He is going to be one of those guys that he can make a GM look really, really good, and he can make a bunch of GMs look really foolish who pass on him. But at the same time, when you're 18 and you're taking the advice, I think, from his representatives that was not really sound advice, and you are trying to push to get to a certain team, and you're waiting for them to go get you, I don't think it was really handled well, the whole pre-draft stuff, when you're not meeting with teams and not doing discussions. And I think you're setting yourself up for an uphill battle from here on out. He wanted to go clearly the teams that were mentioned that we've heard, Washington, New Orleans. I think he wanted to find Brooklyn. He wanted to find a place closer on the East Coast or the potential where he felt like he could be a star. At 18, I think all of us felt like, yeah, we're immortal. We could do anything we want. And then reality hits, and the reality is going to come early on in his career in the NBA. But I think Utah, believe it or not, is actually a good place to be. Whether he understands or realizes it now, I think looking back, if he stays in Utah, that's actually a good location.
So let's talk about that a little bit more, because one of the biggest things that people have been bothered by, the Sixers fans that we have been talking with all day, interacting with all day, is that the Sixers should have drafted Ace Bailey because he might be the overall better scorer. You said something when you were talking about Edgecomb that I've been trying to push out there to people that aren't totally getting it or grasping it. If Ace Bailey is on this team, he's not taking 20 shots a game.
Yep, you nailed it. He's not taking 20 shots a game. And you have an 18-year-old who's going to be pouting and getting upset and not understanding why he's not taking it. They don't have time for that when you look at the way the structure of this roster is. It's, hey, can you contribute now? Can you find a way to do anything and everything that we need? Ace Bailey, again, in 3 to 5 years could be a really, really, really good player.
Absolutely.
You're just not getting that right now. And to be honest, I was stunned. I was stunned about the whole Ace approach because let's just say he wanted to play in Philadelphia. He has also been compared to Paul George. He's talked about Paul George. Paul George has talked about him. Like, wouldn't that be a perfect situation to be mentored by PG-13? That's the thing that struck me more than anything. I was like, wait a second. This guy is 18 years old, has a connection to Paul George, been compared to him. Wouldn't you want to learn from him? And I didn't get anything like that. And one of the flaws in Ace Bailey's game, and I think that you're going to see the opposite in Utah because you're going to see volume shots because they need somebody that could take volume shots and could be a potential star and kind of get comfortable in that market. He's not a creator to get others involved in an offense. You think that's going to work really well here in Philadelphia, especially the first 2 years of his career, when we already got an all-star in Tyrese Maxey and 2 established stars in PG-13 and Joel Embiid when they play? Like, that's just not going to work if you're not going to get others involved and help them create stuff and defend. It just wouldn't have been a good fit.
Okay, did you hear anything tasty in the rumor mill about maybe something that could happen now that the first round's passed with the Sixers moving forward, that maybe they could move on from one of the bigger names, that there could be a trade or something?
I would not shut the door on, I don't think it's going to happen in the offseason with Paul George being moved, but I wouldn't shut the door on, let's see how it works during the season, and maybe let's see where the All-Star break is. I actually think the Sixers are going to approach it that, hey, let's give it one more shot with the group of Embiid, PG-13, and Tyrese Maxey, and let's just be fair to the idea of getting them all 3 on the floor. Big question mark is, where is Embiid in his process after knee surgery, which took place in April? It's been very quiet of an off season for Joel. I actually think that's a good thing, and hopefully that turns into something better down the road. My whole approach in this process this year is just make sure that you protect Tyrese Maxey, because towards the end of the season, he looked tired. He looked frustrated.
Yeah.
And you could see it build. And I don't blame him, because they didn't have two other guys on the floor. So defenses were like, all right, you shut down zero, we'll shut down everybody on this team. And to me, as they continue to approach to get younger and run the floor, I think that benefits a guy like Tyrese Maxey and his skill set.
Well, Kevin, we'll be watching you in the blue suit in 6 o'clock Sports Center tonight.
I'm going blue for Sports Center tonight. I think
Sixers blue.
I think he's going a lighter blue tonight.
Lighter blue. Okay. Yeah. I'll take the cues from you and my 11-year-old son. He sometimes tells me the color he wants to see on TV, and we'll make it happen.
We'll always take a cherry red as well. We'll always take that.
We can always have that.
Kevin, we appreciate it, man. Great job again last night, and we'll talk to you next week.
See you, buddy.
Fellas, be good. Thank you.
There he is. Philadelphia's own, Phoenix owns, Temple's own.
You know what's great about it, though, is I see we also know Kevin, but his the joy he has for his assignments, he enjoys them still.
Oh, yeah.
I know a lot of people in media that after years get like,
tired,
I'm doing another draft.
I'm
doing another draft. I'm doing another thing. He enjoys the assignments.
Yeah.
A lot of fun with it.
All right, coming up next, we have the Flyers giveaway. We have text messages. We have the key three, and the Phillies are trying to avoid being swept.
Oh, boy. Wait a minute.
Or being swept without scoring a run.
They were on this afternoon when General Hospital's on.
It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, everybody, it's Bill Colarulo, and coming up at 2.
Fanatics. So we have the Key 3 coming up around 9:48. We'll sneak in a couple text messages. We got some Phillies that we got to get into. But before all of that, we have the last pair of tickets to give away for the Flyers draft party that you will be a part of this Friday, June 27th from 6 to 10 tomorrow.
Just say tomorrow.
Tomorrow from 6 to 10.
I'm thinking about it.
At the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. Includes the live broadcast with John Kincade and a lot of great guests. Each winner gets a Flyers fan merchandise pack and also free parking, which is really nice as well. So the first caller to 610-632-0975 will win that last pair of the tickets and the parking for tomorrow night's event. It's going to be really cool.
I'm not going to I am not going to be upset if Council Oak Steaks sends something over to the broadcast.
Oh, you wouldn't complain about that?
Yeah, I'm not going to be, and I am a radio whore, so I'm not going to think because Council Oaks is. Oh, I'm telling you, if you're going to AC, Council Oak is that's where you want to hit.
That's your spot?
It is where you want to hit.
All right.
It is a fantastic spot.
That's good work by you.
And have a little steak and have a little seafood with it.
Mr. Booge.
Always. It's awesome.
Final game of the Astros series is today. Phillies, if we're doing, what's the soccer thing? Is it the aggregate?
Aggregate, yeah, they're down 3-0
They're down 3-0.
So, in other words, they have no shot.
Oh, they could win 4-0 today.
4-0.
Hey, you win 4-0 today.
You win on aggregate.
So, in other words, you have no shot.
Against Hunter Brown, that's very possible.
Yeah, probably true.
So Christopher Sanchez versus Hunter Brown is your pitching matchup
we have a shot to win
today.
the game.
Yes.
Let's win the game.
Hunter Brown is 8-3 with a sub-2 ERA this year, 1.88. Now, Christopher Sanchez is on the mound. These pitching matchups have been spectacular. They should not have gotten blanked yesterday. That's embarrassing. The pitcher that they went up against yesterday to score 0 runs. That's embarrassing.
What if I told you that the Phillies were going to score 4 runs or more today? What if I told you?
I wouldn't bet it, baby. Go for it.
You wouldn't bet it?
I would not.
I think the Bet Parks app is getting that bet today. Now, I've screwed myself up twice. I told literally on the live reads, I've said, I love the under in these games. Love the under. Just bet the under. And then I keep putting under and then doing the same game parlay and putting under and Phillies win.
Yeah, but you should have just done under. I got you. By the way, the over-under just 7 runs in today's game. Astros 146 on the money line.
Yeah, Astros are heavy favorites.
Different books. Yeah, they are. And so the Phillies are looking to avoid being swept. And remember, we circled the Mets series in Sharpie, and then we kind of ignored what was happening afterward.
No, I said I wanted 6-6 from the 12 road games and then 4-2 from but going into the All-Star break. I didn't expect to get swept in Houston, so today, Phillies surprise.
Must-win game?
Phillies surprise us, though, today.
That would be nice.
I like that they're seeing a righty, even though it's a very, very, very tough righty.
They're going to surprise us today. And you know what they're going to do?
That'd be nice.
They're going to be selective at the plate today.
They're going to score a run?
No, they're going to be selective at the plate today.
Are they going to score a run?
Oh, yes. Okay. They are. What did I say? 4. They're going to get to 4 today.
Yeah, people on the YouTube, too, I saw them earlier, were saying, when was the last time has a team ever gotten shut out in 3 straight games?
The Yankees.
Literally like a week and a half ago.
Yes.
The team that played in the World Series last year. So it happens. It's not
bad.
good.
It's bad.
It's certainly bad.
But it happens. All right, let's go. Let's get a call in here. My man Stan. I haven't talked to Stan in a while. What's up, Stan?
Yo, what's going on, fellas? Good morning.
What's up, brother?
What are you
How
up
you
to,
doing?
Stan?
How have you been, man?
Hey, I've been great, man. I haven't really been able. I know you guys had some phone troubles, a while back, so I just kind of listened. I wasn't able to really get in there.
Yeah, Mike Missanelli finally paid the bill.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
got you. Now,
we brought Mike back, and then we had to pay the bill, and it was just tough.
You hadn't paid the tab? I got you, man. Listen, I got you. So real quick with the VJ thing, man, I think we're looking at it from the wrong lens, and we're kind of oversimplifying it as far as comparison to Ace. Because when I look it down and I break it down, Ace is the better scorer for sure. But as far as creating separation and all that, they both kind of struggled with the handle. And then I just feel like VJ does everything else better. I think he's a better passer. Like as far as playmaking, he's a guy willing to do that. And
He's willing to pass the ball.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
and like Kevin just said, and it's just like Kevin said, like on this team, you're not going to get those shots, right? So you have to be able to be willing to do those other things that's going to get you the time. right, that's going to earn you those minutes. When I look at Ace Bailey, a person that kind of comes to mind a little bit is Cam Reddish, because he had such a high, oh my God, he might be the most talented one coming out of that Duke squad between him, Zion Williamson, and RJ Barrett. And you've seen him now bounce around, and this kid, he could shoot, he could score, but he didn't have those other intangibles that when you're going to certain situations, you're going to need to do certain
I just
things
love that you didn't say
time.
Kevin Durant like some people in the media do, because he's tall.
No, that's such a reach. I'm not going to say that. Like,
it's not just a reach; it's stupidity.
Yeah. And for me, it's just when I look at it and I say, well, we had Tyrese Maxey, who, by the way, for a lot of people talking about VJ scoring and his shooting, Tyrese Maxey shot 29% from three.
Yes, we talked about that earlier
and
today.
Now he's coming from the logo. So I don't know what VJ is going to end up being. I think he can be a terrific player, especially if what I'm seeing from him, his mindset, if he can continue to do that. But I think we got to kind of look at it from a different scope when comparison, because having those other things and having a good head on your shoulder, and I think Ace just might be having bad guidance.
Yeah, he is. And we've been saying that this entire time. And Stan, we got to run. Thanks for the call, man. I always love hearing from you. Like the
He's
bad
one of my
guys thing,
favorite NBA callers on the
I love
station.
Stan. But we've been talking about the Ace Bailey guidance. That's why, like, I'm not trying to kill an 18. Like earlier in the show, one of our great listeners, where is he at? Chris Klepp goes, Andrew, I don't know why you're going out of your way to defend Bailey. He's 18. We've all made bad decisions. Look, I made bad decisions as an 18-year-old just trying to get to college. This guy's millions of dollars are on the line.
And more importantly,
there's an agency, there's a group.
More importantly, he chose to be represented by somebody who is totally over his head.
Right.
And he knows that he's totally over
And so that's why I am defending an 18-year-old a little bit. Now, here's the thing. Here's my honest belief with the people that are so upset about the Ace Bailey thing. They are ignoring everything that's being said that he doesn't necessarily fit on this team. He's not going to take 20 shots on this team, right?
Right.
But I think those people will still say, yeah, but we don't want to continue to build with this team. And I think that might be one of the biggest things. Like, I imagine the people that really wanted Ace Bailey would have been okay with Embiid being gone, Paul George being gone, and starting fresh.
Well,
if those guys are gone, then you do take Ace Bailey.
Okay, guess what? I'd be fine with.
No, and so
I would be fine.
Let's say 2 days ago they traded both Joel Embiid and Paul George.
Well,
then Ace Bailey's your pick.
Well, here's the one thing: if it's true that Utah was offering to go 5-3, and it would have been a Markkanen. They take Paul George's contract. You get Markkanen, and they get the third pick, and you get the fifth pick. Would you have wanted Markkanen? And you wouldn't have been able to get Edgecomb?
No.
So who would you have taken at 5 if you had taken that deal? And that's what Utah newspaper today saying might have been on the table.
Probably Trey Johnson for more 3-point shooting.
So think about that.
Because Markkanen and Embiid do work together.
Markkanen, Embiid, Paul George.
George is gone.
Yeah, George is gone. So Trey, Maxey.
If that was real.
I could have been talked into that if that's real. But somebody, the Utah press believes they had a deal that they were talking about to move up to be able to get Ace Bailey. It had to be the Sixers.
Yeah.
Because Charlotte wanted Edgecomb. That's who they wanted.
And now you're tying Markkanen with Embiid just like you're tying Paul George.
Correct. And I wouldn't have wanted the Markkanen thing. I'm trying to get rid of the big contracts.
But you would have to do
Absolutely.
it.
No question.
All right, it's time now for the Kincade Salciunas Key 3 best minutes from today's show.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
Johnny, good morning.
An eventful night.
Yes, definitely
Which leads to a eventful Thursday morning to be able to discuss it all. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. The Sixers selected VJ Edgecomb out of Baylor with the 3rd overall pick. So VJ Edgecomb is not going to be a franchise-changing player. He's a guy that they wanted to add to what they currently have and what they're building. You've seen over the last couple of years with the draft, they're getting guards and they're getting athletic guards. Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, and now Edgecomb with last night's selection. Do I believe he is the better prospect than Ace Bailey? I do not. I think Ace Bailey, from a basketball standpoint, is the their prospect. But something that I'm going to get into a lot today, VJ Edgecomb might be the most sane pick for what this organization has been dealing with for years, and that's dysfunction.
Of all the words you use, sane, embellish that a bit.
Well, has anything with this organization for 10 years been normal?
Yeah, Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain. For a while, they've been doing things that are very calming, very competent, very otherwise. We've just been used to the insanity of Joel Embiid doing his own thing, doing whatever he wants to do, and veterans that are sort of
I'm not just talking about players.
That's the truth. You mean executives? Dude, we're going back a long way now.
I know, but
coaches.
Over the last 10 years, let's think about this.
Yeah, but
for
we're
a
going
second.
back.
I know we are, and I'm feeling some sanity right now with this team. I've seen a GM get pushed out, and I was actually kind of okay with it. I see the GM that came in has burner accounts. He gets pushed out. I saw a head coach that was only hired to lose on purpose all of a sudden become the interim GM and make draft picks, and making trades for Zaire Smith. I've seen coach after coach after coach. I've seen assistant coach after assistant coach after assistant coach. I've seen star player after star player after star player get upset, want to get traded. I've seen a roster to start the season not be the same roster in the middle of the season, and not just because they made tweaks, no, because they made major overhauls. And then I've heard the exact same nonsense every single year, the same excuse. Well, they didn't have enough time to play with one another. Well, that's what happens when you don't have a set roster. So for the first time in a while, it looks like they're trying to build towards something.
There's so many things we'll get into about Edgecomb. That seems like it's a really, really good choice. But again, are you trying to get the most talented players, or are you trying to get players that are all like, it seems like you went and got another guy that you already have a lot of, instead of getting the most talented player on the board. And and last night, Con, if you're watching the draft, there was no, like we were discussing it yesterday morning, there was no doubt that the scouting services and everything said Ace Bailey should have been the third player off the board.
Yeah,
Right.
I'll ask you this real quick, Johnny. Has the Sixers' problem been more talent, or has it been more other stuff?
Well, the thing is, though, the other stuff you've been talking about, like Andrew was just talking about there, we're going back in a little bit, because the stuff that has been now has
not
been
dysfunctional a year ago with ramp-up periods?
Well, no, that's the Sixers.
It's been dysfunctional for 10 years.
But that's not players.
Well,
it hasn't been. The only, the dysfunction is the guy that you don't want to send out of town.
Well, no, but the organization was bought into it.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Daryl Morey was the one going on radio stations saying, "Hey, we're ramping him up."
Because Daryl Morey's tied to the petulant child that is Joel Embiid.
And then he said, "And when our lineup is like we are right now," that's the quote. When our lineup is like we are right now. And then he stopped, and then he started talking about I'm not afraid to bring up young players. Earlier this week, I said to you guys, I do not want to gamble on if we get hot. You just heard Dave Dombrowski say, now obviously this was recorded before the Astros series.
Correct.
Well, look at our lineup when we're hot, like we are right now. That is not how you continue to build your team. It's what I said last year when the team was putting franchise records of wins. Franchise records. I still yelled and screamed to the point where people were tired of it that I kept on bringing up center field. Betting on your team getting hot because you've seen it before is a horrible mindset to have.
I don't think that Edgecomb would have lasted past 4.
Right.
So I'm not going to criticize Daryl Morey if Edgecomb was the guy he wanted. I'm not criticizing him for not drafting Ace Bailey and doing my hostage routine.
All right, that is the Kincade Salciunas Key 3 best minutes from today's show. Dave Dombrowski, I hope you're listening. I'm very disappointed if you just don't make any moves.
Well, I'm sure he's going to make moves.
Yeah, he has to make.
But I'm telling you, the center fielders that are out there, P.U.
Yeah, well, that's why you can go corner outfielder and bring up Justin Crawford because he's not afraid to bring up young players.
No, he's not afraid to bring up. Look, Otto Kemp. 25-year-old Otto Kemp.
All right, real quick question before you tell us about life-saving cancer research.
Yeah, that's it.
The Phillies have a day game tonight. It's 2:10 start.
Right.
How many, over under 35 seconds of you watching the day 2, round 2 coverage of the NBA draft tonight?
Oh, I'm
under.
Of you mean?
Yeah.
Is that you?
You're not even checking it out.
No.
See, now I'll
put it on.
I told you I'm filling in for hosting trivia tonight.
Oh, so you're busy.
At the golf club.
So I don't have a life.
So you'll be doing that.
I'll be watching it, yeah.
So,
Christy's got a work dinner tonight, too, so when Coop goes, what else am I going to do? Watch the rerun of the Phillies game?
Watch a movie or something? I don't know.
Do you think I have a life outside of sports?
The Poop Cruise.
Cruise.
It's coming on Netflix.
No, it's about to happen in a few minutes.
Hey, FT Young Heating and Air Conditioning. made a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research, and you can too. Go to 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives.
You got to take care of business before post-show headlines.
Tomorrow's draft day for the Flyers.
Yes, it is.
And 3:33 for Kincade and Salciunas.
That's amazing. I can't believe it, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Going to be great. And our last day together for 2 weeks.
Yes.
Me for a week, you for a week.
Out. Yeah.
There we go.
Man, what will
Connor's
happen?
going to be busy.
All right. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Mike Missanelli show comes your way next. We'll be back at